Sure it will. Where'd you go? You came back. I can put it in either. Okay, Roth's not going to help me. I can put it in a regular IRA. I can put it in a regular 401k. Fine.
I'm logging in. I'm trying. Dave? Hi, can you hear me? Hi.
I can hear the person, but I don't
We don't know who
see
it is.
who's talking.
So this is Lisa Von Gutten, and I can see one person, which looks like Kent Brown. Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you and put it on
Great.
the gallery show.
Oh, yeah. I have to remember how to do that.
And since you are not first up, I will probably mute you and have each
Totally.
person come up. I might move you to attendee. Okay, Lisa?
Sure, absolutely, whatever you want. Okay.
Hey, we're ready to go. Mark will not be here tonight, so he had texted me. So let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. If Susan, if you would take the roll.
Okay, Joan Eaton,
Here.
Sean Platt,
Here.
Cindy Neely, Betsy Blakeslee,
Here.
Mark Reynolds, Bob Hamilton,
Here.
Frank Ganzer.
Here.
All right. And so let's see. Can we get approval of the agenda? Did anybody have anything we need to add or change? Can I get a motion then?
I move that we approve the agenda as submitted.
I second.
Okay. And nobody on for audience business. Everyone's on the agenda. So we'll move on to old and new business. And first up is Ann and Andrew Wassman. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Sure. You guys will state your names and your address, and then you can kind of give us a brief, overview of your project there.
Yeah, so we're Ann and Andy Wassman. Currently, we're on 8th Street, but we bought 205 Loop Drive, and that's the house we are looking to renovate and really bring back to life a little bit. So just trying to refinish the decks, bring the railings up to code. So we have a 4.5-month-old baby. We don't want him falling through the cracks. Replace the windows, replace the siding, and just more interior work, removing asbestos and all of that. But really just looking to give it a little bit of a refresh.
Nice. Okay. So tonight we're here on a couple of different things, and we can start with windows.
Perfect.
Yeah, what do you need from us on that?
Hey, Sean, if you can kind of lead on construction questions or whatever that we normally would do, since Mark would not be here, that would help me out. I think we probably-
What are they? What are they made of? Are they
So
wood,
wood
vinyl?
composite. They're mostly
Wood
double
composite.
hung wood composite.
Are they a fiberglass? I'm not sure what you mean by wood composite.
Yeah, that's the description. They're Anderson A100s, and I looked at the material and it says it's 40% wood composite. I'm sorry, I'm not totally an expert on that.
Sean, what is that?
I'm guessing it's a type of fiberglass. I'm not sure. I've never heard that term before.
Huh.
wood composite, so it's got wood in it, but it's a little bit more durable probably.
Is it like a FIPON? Is it like a wood substitute?
That's what it sounds like, yes.
Okay, and this is all the windows?
All the windows.
Wow.
Okay, and in some areas you are taking out windows and, I mean, you're not just replacing the windows, you're changing some of the windows, is that correct? I am looking specifically at the side that you're going to put the entrance on.
Oh, yes, thank you. There are French doors there. and that's going to be a bathroom. So we're taking on the second floor there.
Are there gonna be any extra windows here at all, or is this a whole blank side?
That's blank.
Why is that blank? You just don't want any light on that floor? Or-
Well, it's a bathroom and a closet, and
Oh.
so we wanted a little privacy.
This is the side that you see coming down from the loop, correct?
Correct.
So in a sense, this building has almost two fronts. I mean, this is the side with this. This is the side that you see going up towards the loop with
Correct.
all the
Yep.
balconies.
Yep.
And as you come down for the loop, because the building's sort of kitty cornered on the lot,
Mhm.
Yep.
this is the side you see.
Correct.
On our copies, there were some windows drawn on that side.
Oh, I drew one more window, I believe, one or two, and I thought sorry, we meant to give you an updated one, but we decided to add in windows on the other side. So that's coming up. That's basically, what side was that?
Well, they've got the directions sort of wrong on the plan. So, I mean, north, south, east, and west is a little bit tricky. It's a little bit, so, well, where's that hand-drawn piece? Because someplace,
Yeah, if you're looking at the balconies, right on, the side to the right of that, the third floor, we're gonna add a window in what is the family room.
that's this side. Yes,
Yes.
Correct.
because this is the back of the house.
Oh,
Yeah, but it'll be on the side a little bit further.
that
That way,
side.
yeah.
Yep.
And so this is the side that's essentially the north side. That's not the, it's the one that goes down towards Georgetown.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, and that's basically more north facing than any other direction.
Okay.
But, and that side, you're taking two stairways off of the house.
Correct.
So you're removing the two stairways,
Mhm.
and then you're putting in these windows, and those are double hungs?
Correct.
Okay, what kind of framing do you have? Because there is a trim on the current windows.
I believe it's the same. John, sorry to put you on the spot. John, our builder, is on the call. Do you, the trim is gonna be the same that we have there now, just hardy board?
Not the siding, I'm talking about the window trim.
Right, but I think it's almost kind of the same, like a 6-inch hardy board around the windows.
Okay, because
Sorry, I'm sorry, guys. I'm bouncing in and out of my internet connection. I'm sorry, Cindy, could you ask your question again, please?
Yes, right now the house has shutters and you're getting rid of all the shutters. And
Yes, they're all,
the windows are all trimmed out with a,
that's correct.
will these
Yes, so-
windows be trimmed out in that fashion?
The windows we trimmed out with 3.5-inch hardy trim material.
Does that make sense to you,
Um,
Sean?
Yes. Yes, that's a standard.
Okay, I mean, that's the standard size, right?
Are you using the
Yes.
5-quarter material for trim?
Yes,
Okay,
so it projects past the hardy lap siding just a little bit to give it a profile.
Yes,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
what we're after is the profile.
Yes. Now, the current
And then-
trim around the windows is a little bit fatter, but honestly, it's proportionally, it looks very different. It doesn't look correct to me. So just to be clear, full disclosure here, I'm the architect and the builder. So I designed it and I'm going to build it.
Okay, all right. And so we're taking two stairways off here. we're putting these two windows in on this side. And all the shutters will be gone. Now, if we look at the back of the house, which
Yes.
mainly faces west, guys. But
We'll take your word for it, Cindy, whatever you say.
well, on that side, the shutters come off.
Mhm.
And is this door new?
The door is new. There are French doors there now that are becoming windows, and then that's a new door.
Okay, this was French doors.
Correct.
And those are becoming two double hungs side by siders.
Correct.
Okay, and these two double hung side by siders will match those?
Correct.
Yeah.
Are they the same size? John?
No, they're different size. They're
Okay,
different size.
because these are essentially, they are narrower,
Order.
but they are the
Yes,
same.
we're fitting.
size.
Yes, we're replacing them in the same openings over
Okay,
there.
all right. So these are wider and these are narrower, but they are the same height
Correct.
here. And the windows coming across here are all the same height. I mean,
Correct.
you're in a line. We're not jumping up and down. Okay.
Correct.
And do these windows exist now?
Yes.
The third floor was French doors also, but the other two windows are existing.
Okay, and so these become a match to those down below.
Correct.
Fitting into the same opening, just not going all the way down to the ground.
Right.
The other
right,
thing we're doing there is we're making them egress windows, which is required by code.
Right. But they are the same windows. This is the same window number as this is. It's the same window size, yes? Okay.
Correct.
I hate to do this, but we need to get around the whole building. And I
That's
think
fine.
this would be the quickest way to do it. Let me find, okay, let me find the other, I had this organized at one point along the line. Okay, for this front section, the proposed new work, all these balconies are new?
They exist.
No, those are
I mean,
existing
they
balconies.
exist, but they aren't of this material. You're changing the balconies, right?
Mhm.
And what?
We're
what are
gonna
you-
use on the decking and the fascia, we're gonna use a composite material. And the railings have to change because they don't meet code. So there will be a top mounted rail with vertical balustrades.
Yeah, there's a picture, right? I thought I saw a picture.
Yes, there is a picture, yes.
Yeah, it's on page 6.
What am I on? I'm on 2. Okay, let me find 6. 3, 4, is 6. Okay, yeah, so that's this one, this picture.
Six, yeah.
That is correct. Those are the railings.
Okay, now, these are all windows now, are they not? Or are they doors? What are they?
They're like sliding
It's
glass
a
doors.
patio. It's a patio door that has center it's a biparting door. So the center 2 panels move out.
Are you changing those?
Yeah, what's in there now is a double French door. So we're with windows on the sides. So we're just making it one opening
And filling it with glass?
and putting a patio door there.
Okay,
Yes.
I have we'll come back to that for a minute, because that's a lot of open glass. And right now, what the building has is essentially a divided light on both sides of a French door. So it's got divided lights in it there. It's not a whole section of open glass. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. So if you look at the existing building, the
Okay.
existing plans,
Yeah,
there is a 6-foot wide patio door with a
Right.
small gap. And then there's windows, double hung windows on either side of that.
yeah, but the patio door is a French door and it's a divided light door. And the windows on,
There are mullions in the existing door, yes.
and there are the windows on either side are divided light windows.
That is not correct. They're just double hung windows on either side.
Yes, but they're double hung. This is a single pane of glass, correct? This is not a double hung window.
We're currently showing that without any mullions. That is correct.
And again, these windows currently exist as double hungs. The center windows,
They do.
With panes? I mean, they have,
well, double hung means it's got a line going across the middle of it.
okay.
That is true. There's in that small bay that pokes out, there are 4 windows, and they're double hung with a sort of a horizontal piece, but there are no mullions in those windows.
No, but a double hung window appears to be a 2-paned window.
That is correct.
Because it is double hung. And what we've done here is the porch rail makes this semi look like they're double hung windows, but we've created large panels of glass.
Cindy, do you have the sheets behind the one that you've got, like sheet 5 and 6? Because sheet 5 shows the existing elevation of what's coming out. Sheet 6 shows what it looked like, what it's due. It might be easier for you to see what's going on.
Yeah, I see on 5 that you had you had these 2 double hung windows, one on either side, and then you had this French door in the middle.
That is correct.
All I'm suggesting is that we're taking out that we're creating one sort of horizontal rectangle of glass by taking out any of the crossbar double hung appearance. And the same is true on the bay window, that if you look at the difference in appearance of the bay window this way with its lights, that's a 4-light window in that, and then you look at it with the plain pieces of glass in it, it has substantially changed the look of the exterior of the house. And I guess I go to, I know where I put my book. It's been a long day.
Oh, yeah. 2.
Cindy, if they took on the windows in the bump out bay and changed the picture windows, the fixed windows from a single pane of glass to a 2/2, it would mimic, essentially would mimic the 2 double hung windows side by side. That would give a pretty similar appearance to what's there now.
Yes, and it's not that it's a similar appearance to what's there now. It's that I was on page 68 of book 2 when I looked at this. And what it asks us is to stay with our basically more of our traditional window forms, even in our new structures. And we have fairly consistently suggested that we not end up with large rectangular, horizontal, rectangular, essentially plate glass windows. Granted, it's two doors and a window, but your impression then is one rectangle of glass. And
That's pretty contemporary looking.
yeah, and I was at the Maintain the Historic Subdivision of Windows lights, replacing multiple panes with single panes or fixed panes is inappropriate. And that's not just on the historic structures, that's on the compatible structures. So I think that's my.
Right, no, I agree with you. I'm just looking at a solution.
What
And I-
about,
The doors are another issue. I mean, you're basically replacing the patio, the 5 or 6 foot wide patio door that's there now in kind, but then you're replacing the window on either side of the door with effectively another door on each side. So it does give it a much broader look of glass.
And that's the front facade of the building too. I mean, we have gone with some of those patio doors on the rear of buildings that go into people's yards and are less visible from the street. But we have not gone with that kind of an arrangement on the facade of the building. And this is a large building, and it's sort of that's repeated 3 times up the building. And you would want to repeat whatever you do. I mean, that I certainly understand. But yes, I was looking at the guidelines for windows, and
So Cindy, may I ask you a question? What do you guys consider this structure? It's not historic, it's a supporting structure? Is that what you're looking?
What you're looking for in the historic district is that your non-contributing structures be compatible, that they they maintain certain of the elements, for instance, general roof forms, general sets of material, general vertical emphasis. And one of the big ones is the solids and voids, essentially the window placements and their directionality. So you're looking for the fact that your new ones aren't copies of the old ones, but they have certain architectural elements in common.
Okay, that's fine. But the idea is that we're not trying to do like for like. If I have something that, quite frankly, this structure is very dilapidated, and the Wassmans are going to put a lot of money into rehabilitating this house and making it a house they can live in for the next 50 years. So the building is 50 years old right now, and they're going to invest a lot of money doing that. So I completely agree with you that we need to maintain the scale and the nature of the building. However, I know what your historic documents say, but I don't think the intent is to try to limit light or to try to not have views out of the house. I mean, that was what was there before. Bob was implying that we could add mullions. Absolutely, we could put a mullion in that's horizontal and vertical to help break down the scale of what appear to be large openings. We can do that on the doors as well. That's not a problem. But if we have to do like for like, that's a big problem because the building is not constructed well.
No, you can't do like for like. I mean, that's okay. No, I don't think that's what we're saying. We're saying that okay. To have in this space, to have all of those panels just be single panels of glass gives you an overall. That's a very, very contemporary look, and it's an overall great. It's a picture window feel, and if if there's, if these simply were the appearance of double hungs on either
Mhm.
side of it,
Mhm.
that breaks that
Mhm.
kind of feel
Mhm.
without taking away from your view particularly.
Sold. Love it,
Yeah,
Cindy.
we can do that,
We'll do
Cindy.
it.
But no, I mean, it may sound like small points, but you know, for the next person who comes along and wants a contemporary home and wants, you know, the full front to be glass, we're going to look at them and say no.
Yeah.
Because
No,
full
makes
front
No,
sense.
I don't think.
glass are not what we do, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes a lot of
I
sense.
don't think that's what we have here. And but I think the idea of breaking down the scale of the glass is perfectly fine. You know, even you know, separating the two outer panels a little bit more, you know, so we still end up with glass. You know, we're okay with that too.
Yeah, because I think that would work. I mean, you understand what we're saying in that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it would
Yeah.
be, because I think that we're delighted that you're bringing this house to life and sort of saving it. And you know, that's great. And I think that it's, you know, yes, you're doing a very thorough job. It was just this particular facade, because I think we would likewise say that, you know, if you wouldn't mind this having its line through.
Mhm.
Or pains. Mhm.
So you
The
end
only
up,
other issue with,
you end up looking like a double hung window. It cuts that blank glass appearance.
You just put dividers
Okay.
in the interior of the,
Oh,
Well, I think that, you know, if you, and not necessarily just the mullion, Bob, you could, I mean, you don't need to make it a double hung, but I mean, an actual operable double hung, because you probably don't
you
want
can
it.
still leave it as a fixed window, just, you know, with the divisions inside.
Well, I think the division should be
well,
inside.
they can actually make them where they go on top of the glass. It can be
Yeah.
one solid piece of glass, but they'll put mullions that stick to the glass.
Right.
So it looks more like rather than the inside, that's too modern.
Yeah, they don't appear like they're permanent on the, and what you're saying is that,
The other thing,
yes, you know, that it's so difficult to do some things on Zoom. And Zoom is wonderful, but it is so difficult to do something.
no, don't. We have to speak very positively about it.
the only other thing, Cindy, is we've never approved a patio door in the historic area
I
on
know, on the front of
the street
anything.
facing side.
No, we have not.
Well, the fact that
Yeah.
the patio door.
So that's
actually,
three
like the French doors,
patio doors facing the
they're
street.
existing. So, I mean, we would, if they were just replacing one for one, we would approve that.
But these are sliding patio doors, Bob. They aren't French
They're
doors.
not French doors.
Yeah. Now, if they were
I mean, they
French doors,
They don't open out. They're sliders, right?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
And no, we have, Sean, you're absolutely correct. You know, we don't do sliding doors on the front of anything.
So there's a difference. So it doesn't matter. Just making sure I'm clear on this. It's not that it's like, it matters what type of door. It doesn't matter that it's replacing the existing opening. That doesn't matter. Like, would you approve currently like French doors, or is it just
Yes.
you do
Yes.
approve French doors?
Yes,
Okay.
we do approve French doors.
Okay.
But a French door
So-
has a number of lights in it. You know, a French door is, it is not a slider, is not a
Okay.
sliding glass door.
It's like what's on there now.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, we run into a problem with the current energy code because French doors, I cannot get French doors that meet the energy code. Well, I don't say I can't. We can, but they start to get very expensive. So the patio door was a, was a backup, if you will, of not replacing the patio, the French door. So yes, they do slide, but we could introduce mullions into that so it looks like the French door, and it's much more energy efficient. And French doors, just leak a lot of air. Honestly, that's the problem.
Well, that might be true. The other thing is that if you've got a whole opening there, and if I mean, do you need a double door in it? If you,
We can separate. We can take the two windows that are on, the two pieces that are on the outer part of the existing 6-foot opening, because that's what's there, and just, move those out so there's some separation between them, and, put mullions in those as well. So it looks like, they're consistent.
well, I think we have to understand that we're not talking about interior snap-in mullions. We're talking about outside, a piece that's on the outside of the glass, not on the inside.
Yeah, so I can buy them that way. I can get the mullion to be on the outside of the glass. And actually what they do is they put it on the outside of the glass. There's a little piece in between the glass and there's a piece on the inside. So we can do outside and inside the glass, or we can do outside and we can do all 3 layers, if you will. But we can definitely get it on the outside of the glass.
On the windows as well.
Yeah, no,
That's standard on all the glass for doors.
And in particular, I think what Bob was talking about is the windows that are the bigger windows to the left where the bay sticks out. We could definitely do, kind of the crisscross there. So they look like they're divided lights.
I think is the right terminology.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
so you would have a 2/2?
Yes.
So essentially on that side, you're coming to that appearance.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and on this, on the windows on the front here, are we arriving at a conclusion, guys?
What do you call in the front again?
Yeah, this is
The south elevation you're talking about, Cindy?
Okay.
I'm talking about the one with the 3 balconies. What are
Okay.
we, what is our conclusion on? We've had a lot of discussion. What's our conclusion on the ones on behind
On the front of the bay or on the doors? The balconies?
on the balconies?
On the
I think we're agreed on the bays.
Okay, so
And
what I have is on the doors, they were going to become divided so as to appear to be French doors, have exterior mullions, and that the 2 side windows will be divided like the old double hung windows that were there before. Is that correct? Or are they all going to look like French doors?
I don't know that you can get sliders that you can put mullions on the outside of. They don't
Okay.
slide.
Sure they would. You can get them.
Yes.
I know you can get them. You agree, Sean?
I don't know if they can be on the actual outside of the glass. An old wood.
I don't see why not.
You
You wouldn't
actually-
project
you
any
may-
further than the trim around the glass where the glass sets in.
Yeah,
John-
you may
John, do you-
actually be able to.
I think we
those.
can. I think we can get those.
I-
If not, we'll we may have to go back to French doors there. Now I know I can get them on French doors, and maybe we can do a fixed in a swing. So the French door is a little more more energy efficient.
What I'd like to
That's an atrium.
what I'd like to do is say, I think that we're very much, obviously there's been no questions about the some of the really fundamental things that you have to do, like get rid of your asbestos and put on the new siding. And I think at this point, we're interested in seeing the facade detail for well, they're calling that the south elevation, and yeah, the elevation on HP1. it would be nice if you would send back to us a detail of what's going to happen to those doors and windows. Because I
Yeah,
think,
sure, no problem.
I think that's the question, unless somebody has a question about any of the other sides.
I have one question. Anne and Andrew, I've never met you before, but it's very exciting what you're going to be doing here. My question is on sheet 10. I have a view here. Oh, how do I do this? Oh, yeah, here we go. And I see that there are windows that are drawn in here.
Yeah.
Okay, are those going in?
Yes.
And what did you draw in there? That's
I know,
wrong.
that was me. I meant to send, I drew them in and 3 weeks ago and I meant to send you an updated copy. So I'm sorry that we didn't do that. But yeah, those are gonna be, not shown there. They will be exactly the same like they'll be single, what are they?
Two side-by-side double hung, just like the ones on the back of the house.
Sorry.
Okay, side by side double hunts. Yes, you got the language there.
I'm catching on quick.
So, excuse me, I need to be rude and interject here with my clients, Ann and
Sorry.
Andrew. You drew them on the wrong elevation. They're supposed to go on the other side. That's the kitchen up there.
This is the side,
No, John, it's on the
No.
bedroom. It's
It's
on,
on where the
on the second floor
entryway
above the entrance.
into the house is where these windows are
on the
drawn
other
in.
side of the house.
Yeah, it's on the other side, John.
All right, so we
You're
had,
on the right side. I'm confident.
all
Yeah,
right,
you drew them on the right side.
Yeah.
this
You're
is correct,
confident.
Yes.
that they are above the entryway into the house.
Oh. No,
This
then
is
no.
the entryway into the house. These are the windows.
No, sorry. It's if you face the house, if you're facing the porches, the front double or the sliding glass doors or French doors, whatever you want to call it.
The north side,
The north
as Cindy
side.
clarified.
Yes,
The true north.
closest to town.
All right, so one
Sorry,
concern,
Betsy.
one
So they're not on this side.
not on this side.
No,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
They're on the
John,
east wall,
nope, they're not. Sorry, everyone.
All right, so that was my first question when we started, was this huge blank space across the side of the house, and you indicated you have a closet and a bathroom there, so you don't want any light at all in there. So I was thinking, when I saw the drawn-in windows, oh, that's gonna be great. If they can get some windows on that side, it's gonna make it less look like a giant sheet of nothing across the side of the house. So I just wondered about that.
Well, it's on the second floor that we weren't planning on putting windows because the windows are like where that bay is currently. That's the bathroom, and the other side of it is like you need a place to put a sink and a mirror, and that's really the wall. That's the only wall that you can. And I know it doesn't make sense, but there's a fireplace on the other side, so there's really not room internally to put any of that unless you get the window out. However, upstairs, we could put a window upstairs.
There is a window upstairs.
Okay, so it's just the one room that there's not a window. then.
Yeah, so if you look at the existing drawing of that elevation, there are two French doors and a window that is, there's three things that are coming out. There's
Are you
two French
talking
doors
This
and
side,
then a double window.
No, you're on the other side. We're on the wrong sides.
You're on
No,
What
no,
sheet
keep-
number? What sheet number?
sheet 3. Is
Okay.
that right, John?
the
Yeah,
entryway,
look at the existing elevation.
For
On
the
what number is that, please?
Sheet 3.
Sheet 3, it's sheet down in the box. Where's sheet 3? There's
It's in
one,
the
two.
box to the left of the,
On the other side of 4. Cindy.
Okay, this is what exists on that side.
Right.
Yes?
Okay, other elevation. So that's the one that faces town. We want the
Yeah.
one that faces west. This is where we're taking the
And that's-
balcony, or I'm sorry, this is where we're taking the stairs off.
You're taking the stairs off, and on that one, you're putting in a bunch of windows.
We're replacing the doors. The doors that are there, we're replacing with double hung windows.
Yes, that's the other side of that side, right?
Yes, that is correct. That's fine. And then I'm sorry, I don't have the drawing. I don't have the drawings open in front of me. But it's the elevation that has the two in gable dormers on it.
Okay,
The
Okay,
sheet
sheet
nine.
8,
That's the side we wonder about.
it's
That's
called,
the
it's
side.
called the west elevation.
Right. So
Yeah,
Cindy, find the existing elevation of that, not the new elevation. There you go.
what number?
So let me just walk you through what sheet number is that, Cindy?
That is sheet 9.
There we
Yes.
go.
Great.
Okay, we need sheet 9, Kent. We need the sheet that's before that. There. Beautiful. Thank you.
So there's, keep in mind, there's 4 floors to the house. So the floor that's labeled the lower floor, that's where the little entry in gable is going to go.
Right.
Then the floor above that, which says main level, that's where the master bathroom is going to go. Then the floor above that is the dining room. And again, we're trying to take some of these French doors out because they're just ridiculously large and they leak air like crazy right now.
Yeah.
So that's the three levels on the right-hand side of that elevation. Then on the left-hand side of that elevation, you can see there are no existing windows all the way towards the back of the house, right in there. There's no windows. So if we move over to the right to the center windows, we're going to redo the windows up on the upper level. We have to take the windows out on the main level because that's where the closet is. And the lower level, that's just into the mechanical room. And we need space on the outside wall to put vents and ducts and air intake and things like that.
So what you're left with is that whole, what we're calling are we calling it the second level? No,
Yes.
go down a level, the first level. You're taking all the windows out there, out of that level, and no windows will be put back in.
Well, the lower, when it says lower level, that's where the mechanical room is. So all of
Yeah.
those are coming out because of
Right.
ducts and pipes and air intake. The next level up, which says main level, right? That's where the closet is. Then the upper level is where the kitchen is, and we're redoing those windows. We're going to leave those in.
Okay, but on the main level, you're taking out all of those windows, that one and the other section of window, the French doors get taken out too.
Yes.
So there's just wall.
That- Yes.
This whole piece across.
Yeah, if
Okay.
you look at sheet 10.
Yeah. And so there's just wall all the way across there.
And the 2 drawn-in windows on sheet 10 are not really
My
going
bad.
to be there.
Those are very wrong. That was me. Those
They're
are
on
not,
they're on the east elevation.
very sorry. Yes.
That's okay.
All right, so
And-
this is the view when you're driving down from the train. If you had been at the train and you were coming down, you would be seeing this view as the prominent view. Is
Well,
that-
not exactly. You'd have to look up on the side of the hill because the house is sitting approximately 20 feet above the roadway. So you'd actually have to drive up the driveway to see this. Have you guys been out there and looked at the side of this house?
There's all those rocks.
There's probably 30-foot tall boulders on the other side of the driveway, so your line of sight's
Yeah.
pretty limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sort of more willing to live with that than, and make the adjustments on the front, I think.
yeah, there is a
That's
lot,
fair.
there is a lot of landscaping or, natural landscaping there on the left half of that elevation, that kind of takes away from that, one floor that doesn't have much on it. You don't just
That's
see
right.
a whole wall.
And
That is right. You were correct.
so then,
And I know you want to get started on the project, and we want you to get started on the project. So Joan, could we, well, sightings,
Yes, please.
we need some sightings.
yeah,
And then everything else that they're doing, we don't really need any details on the asbestos and that type of stuff. So we're mainly about the windows on this, correct?
Well, they're residing the whole house. And so
Yeah.
Oh, siding, okay.
we
And
should make,
it's all hardy, the cement board product, so that's fine. I mean, we don't have any problem with that.
Okay, then trim.
Yeah,
window.
the size of that lap siding, we're just putting that back exactly. So it's
Yeah.
about a 7-inch
Reveal?
exposed lap siding. We're just putting that back like it is.
Okay.
okay, so it matches what's there now. It's a very large
Yeah.
building, so to put
Yeah.
the narrower siding that is typical in the old would look, that's why it's large.
It's the wrong scale. I agree with you
Yeah.
on a historic house, but it's the wrong scale on this house.
Yes, it is, because the house is too big, yeah. However,
What size are the corner boards?
Those are the
corner
same as
trim?
the trim boards are the same as the windows. They're 3.5 inches. So it's 3.5 inches on either around the corner. So
How would you feel about enlarging them to a 5.5 inch?
I don't think that's a
Because of the
problem.
scale.
Yeah, I'm not really, I think that might be what I have drawn here actually is 5.5 inches. But I think that matches existing too. I think the existing boards are 5.5 inches.
because 3.5 this is a substantial structure.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, proportionately, I think the 6-inch would be better.
Okay,
So we're okay with the west elevation then?
Yes, they're doing some mullions and divided light on those.
yes, but I would like to request that we,
see
yeah,
that when,
even if as we approve the project, that we ask to see a drawing of the front with the adjusted windows.
That's fine. Can we get that back to you and just kind of do an administrative approval so we don't have to come back and have the full committee again?
Right. That's just something we'll request to be brought to us. So that's part of the contingency here tonight, that we get to see.
Okay,
All right.
I think that's fair.
Okay. So we're book 2.
yep,
We're in book 2, and if
it's
we
68. And I think 6.
yeah.
Section 6.
Yes,
It's section 6, windows and doors.
Okay.
And it's actually on page 69, and D, the maintaining the historic subdivision of windows and lights.
yep,
And F, maintain sort of the historic ratio of window openings to a solid wall. And F4, if necessary, divide large glass surfaces into smaller windows that are more in scale with those seen traditionally. And F3, large surfaces of glass are inappropriate on residential structures.
Okay.
And then on page 70, there's J, that the windows and doors should be finished with trim elements. similar to those that use traditionally. That's just, you're framing out the windows.
Mhm.
And we can go to page 71, Article 7 on porches, awnings, decks, et cetera.
Have you got a siding, Bob?
Yeah, I guess C, if replacing a porch or I'm assuming a deck, reconstructed to match the original form as original, which is what they're doing. I'm looking to see if, where do we have the business about,
About,
about the composite material for decking?
on page 72, Bob, next page. G2, a composite deck material is appropriate for flooring only, but it's appropriate for flooring.
Mhm.
And G3 for new properties, because essentially this is a newer property. Balconies are appropriate if the design is incorporated into the design of the building. And yes, that's obvious. And we have, then we have the siding.
Do you want H for the railings?
Yeah, I was looking at that, but that's going to be natural wood, right? With metal railings, is that correct?
So
No,
a wood top rail, wood post, metal in between.
metal little balusters, but not balusters.
Baluster, yeah. That's the correct word, yes.
Just like the picture that we saw,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's fine.
It's H and H1.
Each one.
Yes,
Okay.
Which page?
we're 72.
Oh, okay. H1, right.
We have siding.
On, oh, siding?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's page 76. I'm sorry, but I forgot. What is the siding material again, please?
The
It's,
hardy plank.
it's a hardy plank, which is basically a cement plank, but it looks very much like a lap siding. It's very durable. It makes sense to,
Okay,
It comes in strips. So it is actually a replica of the lap siding that's there. It will just be replaced with lap siding,
great.
which is totally appropriate, I think.
I think we did that on our first house in Georgetown at
Yes.
200 Rose Street. All right. But
Yeah,
do we need a siding for that or anything?
yeah, well, what I'm looking for is the siding that says that we need to, and I can't find it.
Well,
New building materials.
Are you on page
Yeah,
76,
H1.
Betsy?
I'm on 76 and I was
I'm sorry, yes.
A3.
Who are you, Bob?
I'm on
Oh.
page 81, Article 5, new building materials.
Right, page 81, I think is what we need. Yeah, I think you're right. And it's D, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So nothing on 76?
No,
No,
It's all the gold.
that's all historic homes.
Okay,
sorry, guys.
it's all right.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's why I use a pencil.
I'm learning.
D1 and D.
Sean, what?
I got D, D1,
Mm-hmm.
D2 doesn't fit in because of the exposure. So no D2.
Okay. All right.
Is there gonna be a roof on this?
Are you
You know,
changing?
for the most part, we're just leaving the existing roof. There'll be a couple of penetrations, pipe penetrations, but
Oh,
we're not changing the roof color or changing the roof style or anything.
if there are utility penetrations, we ask that you paint them, that they not be reflective
Absolutely.
metal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's actually a siding for utilities. Somewhere.
Where is that?
That's, by the way, that's part of the building code now. The building code says you have to paint those the same color as the roof.
Okay,
Really?
Nice.
good.
That's very nice, because that's utilities is on 58. Yeah, A3 on 58, minimize the visual impacts of vents and exhaust things by integrating them into the building designs, and there's
6.
and 6, yes, they should have a non-matte or non-reflective finish.
By the way, the only people that are going to see the roof of this house, are from the interstate above.
Which means 23 million people will see it every year.
Yeah. I look
That's
at
right.
it every time I go by. It's pretty bad.
It is 23, it's over 23 million people these days. Amazing.
If only they'd spend $10 a piece in your town.
No kidding.
Yes.
Okay.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
With all those sightings, I would make a motion that that we approve the application for Rossman's at whatever the address is.
205 Loop Drive.
With the stipulation that we receive a revised drawing of the, what side were they saying that was?
South elevation.
Of the
Balcony
front,
side.
and in accord with the guidelines cited.
We're here second.
I'll second.
Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I,
Against? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your
Thank you all.
time. We really
Appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, so just if you'll get that drawing back to us when you make the changes on those windows, that's all we'll need.
Perfect.
just submit it to Jen and she'll send it out to us, and so we'll
And
know.
Anne, don't draw on this new drawing.
I know, Betsy, my bad. Like I was also like, John, no, I'm so
That would
right.
be exactly what I would have done. Drawn all over it. So.
Sorry again.
Bye-bye, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
John. Thank you all.
Okay. Shuffle more papers here.
Okay.
Round in papers tonight.
I know. My desk is not big enough for this. Okay, so
Neither is
David
mine.
and Lisa Von Gunten. Lisa, are you back yet? Kent is going to let you join us here.
I got this
Yeah,
upside.
she's there. She's just not unmuted.
Oh,
She's just
okay.
not unmuted there.
Okay,
Lisa's there.
all right.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hey, welcome.
Hi.
You have such a pretty house.
Oh, thank you very much. We're very excited.
very exciting too. It's just beautiful. I've always loved that.
Okay,
Yes,
so
and, no, go ahead. Yeah, I'm
would
sorry.
you please state your name and your address, and then you can tell us a little about your project.
My name is Lisa Kugler von Gunten. The house is at 709 Griffith Street. Grew up owning, or my family did, the house at 790 Tow Street. And so this is a continuation of the properties that we already have, and we're very excited to be able to have the whole contiguous area. And so really what we're trying to do is repair the fencing that is currently existing, add a little bit more privacy, and continue the look of the pink house, as I affectionately call it. We just want to sort of bring it back up and repair the fencing is all we want to do. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Lisa,
Yes, ma'am.
you have two different fences on this application, is that correct?
That is correct.
Am I correct in saying that the fence that's solid with the lattice on top would go from the barn door towards it out and then towards the cabin?
That is correct.
And a little bit down the line between the property line with the cabin?
That is correct.
Okay, and that fence sort of fits into the fencing that is there?
Correct.
Okay, and the second fence you want to do is a lattice fence all the way up?
Yes, so in front of the
front of the
pink
house.
house that you know as the Rutledge House had an existing lattice fence, and it provided a little privacy and some gardens. And so we're trying to extend that. And that would go in front of the house, sort of in between the yard where the deer live and the house. Mhm. So it would be an extension purely of lattice fencing, painted pink and white as currently they are.
It surprises me that the house number is on Griffith,
No, it's a little confusing, but
because
There
the most famous view of that house, and it is a famous view of that house, is from 8th Street. You
you
know,
are
that's the classic iconic picture of Georgetown. I mean, that's, you've got one.
that or the Maxwell House or the Hamill House. But yes, you're right.
Right, but you know, but that one is right up there with those views. And
Cindy, that property used to go all the way to the creek, and now there's a little house like across the street on Griffith. That used to all be the same property, so it's probably when it got its address.
Interesting. Yeah. So
yeah, because our property in our property record that we have, you have, you know, the typical picture of the house taken from 8th Street. And the lattice fence that you propose would go right in front of the house.
that is correct. But it would not extend as far as the existing lower fence. So we're staying within the setbacks that the town requires. And we're trying to match the overall appeal while trying to create a little bit of privacy and protection for the garden from the deer.
So you're basically suggesting, is the fence going to cut off the whole view of that porch area?
No, but it will cut off partially the view of the porch area. Not the entire view, but part of it.
And how high will that be?
It's a 6-foot fence, which is, I believe, what code is and what the existing fence is as well.
Well,
And it'll be lower because of the grade of the porch going down, sort of down the valley as it were.
currently, no 6-foot fences are allowed in the front of a house. A 6-foot fence is allowed on the side yard and the rear, and that's mainly for deer and dogs, people that have pets, not in the front, and not in, past the front corner of your house. So if you're looking at that one picture that Cindy was showing, and you see the 1-story room off to the right, and there's a window, and then you can see the fence, that would be considered the front edge of your house, and no 6-foot fence would be allowed in front of that.
But you see, their address is on Griffith Street, so they're considering what we all think of as the side of the house to be the front of the house.
Yes.
And
And there is no backyard in this house because we're
Right.
essentially historically on the property line. So there needs to be a little sort of understanding and accommodation because there is no backyard.
So how far across that? So are we going to call this the side then that we're looking at?
no, I would not call it a side because it is a corner lot.
Yeah,
And the corner lots have the problem of essentially having
two fronts.
two fronts.
Yeah.
Essentially having the visibility, the public visibility on both sides. And that is a traditional problem of a corner lot. And so and actually the front that is facing Griffith Street is the one that is least seen.
Yeah.
The side that is most open to the public view is the side that faces 8th Street. I don't see any problem with the fence that's extending from the barn and extending down through the, next to the cabin. That's a completion fence, and that separates property lines that are distinctly side property lines for both the cabin and for the for the pink house. We'll call it. I will quit calling it the Rutledge House. It's the
No, it's fine to call it the greenhouse, the cabin, and the Rutledge House. My grandmother always called it the greenhouse, so that's fine, or the bottle house. So that's
the bottle house, the greenhouse, your dad's house.
That is correct.
But the fence that you're talking about on between the cabin and the pink house, I think is a logical extension of a property line fence. I think our question becomes the lattice fence out front. And yeah, you're I think you're sort of in a goldfish bowl.
I understand. One of the things that I have observed over my lifetime being associated with Georgetown, and certainly you all are in a more prominent position there, is that Georgetown has lots of lots that are have lots of things that are going on there, and some of them are beautiful and some of them are charming and some of them are not. And so my hope here is that we would be able to create a garden inside the fence line and then preserve the pretty yard, which everyone loves about the pink yard and the pink house, and that view from the street, and yet give us a little bit of privacy as well. So that was the hope here, where we totally want to maintain the charm and the character, not only of the homes that we have, but of the pink house as well. And we do want to repair the gate, which has seen better times.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't think the gates.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't think the gates finish.
so if we're looking at the site plan here that's got little orange markers on it on mine, I'm not sure if they're orange on everybody's.
Yeah.
That drawing.
Yep.
Highlighted, yes.
Yeah, so the highlighted would be the new lattice fence.
Yes, the one that goes in front of the house would be, and the the one that goes along the side property line is a wood fence with a little lattice on top of it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That one, I don't have anything to question, the one with the lattice on the top in between, that's to me, back and side property there.
Yes, well, and the difficulty I have, I'm in book 2 and on fences and walls, and on page 52, it starts out by saying that a fence or wall that defines a front yard or a side yard on a corner lot is usually low to the ground and transparent in nature. A fence or wall should not exceed 4 feet in height.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty just sort of there.
Well, and plus you already have the fence at the property line.
Yeah, that's not the.
And we have the fence in front, which historically has been there for as long as I've been around, which is kind of a long time. So we tried to maintain the 50% transparency. We're not trying to add a solid fence, but more just a small privacy fence.
Yeah, but it's 6 foot tall.
Yeah,
All right. Yes, but the existing fence is 6 foot tall.
not in front of the house.
Yeah, well, in front of the barn, in front of,
Yeah, but it's not in front of the house.
that is correct.
According to the
However, out of respect, I think that we could probably do a different fence around the perimeter of the yard that would be taller. And then we don't want to do that. We just wanted to add a little bit of
Well, around
privacy.
the perimeter, it wouldn't be more than 4 feet either.
Okay, all right.
I
Okay.
mean, 4 foot is basically the fence line limit, except, and anything above that is exceptions for given situations. And
Gotcha.
the exception for the given situation from the barn to your other property is that you're separating off, you are to the rear of the cabin, you are separating off from the barn and the cabin. That seems like really the kind of a place that kind of a fence is called.
Okay, that's fair.
But, that's.
I would appreciate any suggestions that you have.
I have a thought. I don't know what the other board members would feel about this, but the space between the barn and the house has got a fence in front of it now. It's got the open lattice fence. Could that area be enlarged so that but not carried over in front of the porch?
The problem is that big old tree, but yes, it could be. It's just that we have a bunch of trees there. Yeah.
To give you a larger private area.
Yeah, come forward. I mean, include the tree in your private area and just get bring that whole section of fence.
Yes, except for the fact that the tree is so big that there's really no private area because it's just, we would encompass the tree as opposed to jog around the tree. But it's an option.
Well, what if extend the fence to the beginning
Sean,
of
you're breaking
the
up.
porch?
Sean, you broke
So-
up on that.
Would cover the window to the right.
Sorry, Sean, try it again.
Oh, okay. Well, if we extend it to where the porch begins,
So in front of that one window, that one room, but not past the porch.
I'd be
not
okay with that.
past the porch, correct?
Would
That extends it about one panel.
Yeah.
Well, and then it could come forward some more too, because it'd be past the trees.
You could jog around and then come forward. Is your concern that the town wants to see the house and that is more important than our ability to create a fence and have this area for our family?
I think,
In guidelines, isn't it?
I understand.
well, and I think that our concern is that in the overall historic district and particularly for our contributing structures. And I live in one too, that
Me too.
has a fairly exposed yard. And yes, you find tiny spaces that are sort of backed up against it. That we continue the ability overall in our historic district to be able to see our contributing structures. Yes, and that's part of our maintaining the integrity of our historic district. And yeah, this one's very tough.
This is tricky. I know, and I appreciate your consideration here. I think that our intention with the house overall has been to go in and try to understand the history that is there, which is profound, and find a good home for all of the items that are in the barns and the everywhere. And there's a lot, as you probably all know, and then to also carve out a way to enjoy the space as well. So I appreciate that, your consideration. Certainly the historical nature of Georgetown is not lost on me. My family's been there since 1940, so it's not we're not coming in and trying to change things. We're just trying to add a little bit of space to build a garden, keep the deer out, and yeah.
So what about moving the existing fence forward?
That's what Bob was suggesting.
So there's a tree, Betsy, that they would have to go all the way around the tree, and then basically they just be putting the tree inside the fence instead of getting much more room inside there.
So does the property end right after the first panel that I see on the Pink House property? Or does it extend over to the right there?
There's that garage.
It extends over to the right because it extends to the barn. I mean, the barn is, as you look at the house, the barn's on the right.
Oh, okay.
There's the barn and the baby barn. There's a baby barn full of old desks in there from the school, I think. I don't know.
But what if this whole, I mean, it's a huge yard. What if that whole fence area was pulled forward? And it's not all gonna hit the tree.
Right.
That's kind of what we were hoping to do. I was trying to not go into the yard and affect that area, because I understand that the neighbors particularly like to look at the yard and appreciate that. So I wasn't trying to go too much to the, let's see, in this case, the south.
South, yes.
Right. So we were just trying to carve out 8 or 12 feet from the tree, sort of jogging around and in front of the house. That's all. So there would certainly be a view to the house and a view to all of the pinkness that is that house and has always been that house. And we have no intention of changing that, but just giving us a little bit of a private yard.
Yeah, but I do see what the question is when I look at the black and white pictures, because if that fence right where it sits came forward and there was a fence that went back to the house, it would give you a section that, yes, juts out into the yard some, but
Cover the house.
but would give you a section that was more protected for garden and for some of your activities.
With an understanding of the shadows that are created by the barn, the tree, the mountains, all of those issues. So, I mean, we're willing to accommodate what you think is right. However, we certainly really request that we can, just carve out a small area that would be private for us and then leave the rest of it open for the appreciation of the town and the structures with respect to the setbacks and all of those things.
Yeah, all of those things. But fences can essentially sit on lines, so that's, well.
Basically, I think it's coming down to obstructing the view of the front of the house with a new 6-foot fence. And according to the highlighter, it goes all the way across to the edge of the front of the porch.
And please understand that's sort of my highlighting, not necessarily, I mean,
Oh.
clear, yes, it will obstruct the porch. The porch is about 3 feet off the ground, so the obstruction would be about 3 feet on top of that. And I'm giving you approximates for sure. But the obstruction of the house overall is, and the porch would be maybe 3 feet. And there are lots of houses in town that have that same sort of feel, I think. I don't know.
This is such an interesting placement of a house in Georgetown.
I know.
You know, it's just iconic. Like if you drive people into Georgetown, you are definitely driving by this porch, this house, this color. And the idea of having that obstructed is just sad.
I get that, but there's, from my perspective, at least, an intense desire to preserve that which is special about the house and everything in it, from the wallpaper and all those things that we are not trying to change. We're just trying to add a little bit of private area, which isn't open to the view of the whole entire town. And I would imagine that that resonates with all of you in some way, shape, or form. We're not trying to do anything that is out of keeping. We're just trying to extend that which we already have.
Okay, I'm going to say something, and if anybody wants to agree or disagree, let's try to figure out something here. If you look at the black and white photos that Cindy had up earlier, these.
Yep.
So you can see between the house, if you look at the house, you see where that lattice fence is now.
Uh-huh.
You look at the barn and you see there's quite a bit of area in front of it. And I realize some of that's shade, it's not your garden, but between the existing fence and the barn, I would be agreeable to that lattice fence coming out pretty far to enclose an area, but not to go in front of the house.
The problem is we'd like to be able to park a car in that barn. And
I'm
if
not
we
saying go
build it-
across,
Yes, the
no, I'm not
barn-
saying
the
go
barn.
across in front of the barn, but just that area between the two and then as far forward towards 8th Street. So it would become a bigger area there, but it would be essentially off to the side or behind, depending on what you call the front.
I think that would be appropriate. I mean, that's my opinion, to come off on the Griffith Street side of the barn, go forward another, I don't know, panel or two, and then come toward the creek.
Right here.
To
Yeah,
the house.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, take,
So straight out from even closer to the,
right there.
Right
Yeah.
there.
Right where you put the hand. Come out, bring that out further and bring it over and then bring it back to the house and
Yeah.
enclose.
But there's a tree there. That's the problem. So
tree.
there's no
There's
room
a
for a
rather large
garden or
tree
a
there.
yard. Yeah.
But what about if you can't, is this your, I'm sorry, I don't have a cursor for that. You can't see my cursor, right?
I don't know where the tree is. I'm looking at the black and white picture. It looks like there's,
Nothing.
Now look at the
Well-
black and white picture of the house and look over to the right side,
Yeah, there's,
far to the right, the house.
Yeah.
You see that tree?
yeah,
Right there. That tree sits in between the house and the barn.
right, but you,
Okay.
So if
So
you're
right-
coming off from the side of the barn, pull us back down to the barn, please, Ken. If you're coming off from the side of the barn, you're right into that tree.
Okay, I'm actually talking about even further over, closer to the front corner
Right.
of the barn there by the driveway. Yeah.
But-
Even that area in there could be included so that you could have a nice big space that's closed off, but it does not go in front of the house.
right.
But it doesn't get any light for a garden or for really usable space. And that would be our hope, is we were trying to have something where we would have a little sun, a little light, a little ability to plant some plants and yet preserve and the patio. So that house, I believe if I may say, your priority is to preserve the view and everyone watching it. And part of my priority as a landowner is to have a little bit of privacy, to sit on my porch and not have everyone watch, and to sit in my garden and not to do that. So I don't know how to balance this, but I'm open to your ideas and we'll explore them.
What,
I
one
think
thing
that,
I don't understand, you see in this old black and white picture where it looks like there's a cart sitting out there in front of 3 panels of lattice.
Yeah,
It's still there. Yeah.
Why can't that whole thing come forward? Like,
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And even if that comes forward a good bit, I mean, I'm not opposed to it being a big enclosure off to the side. So it would
It
get.
could come forward as long as it can go in front of the house. Would that be reasonable? It
No.
can come forward 20 feet.
No. If
No?
not, if it's in
So
front of.
you don't want to block the house.
We
You're
don't
telling
want
me I
to
can't block the
We
house.
don't build 6-foot fences in front of our houses. No, we
Okay.
don't.
We don't. Okay. All right. I understand that. Could I build a 4-foot fence?
yes, perhaps.
Okay.
There is a 4-foot fence though. I mean, are you
On
talking
the
about a
property
lattice
line.
fence?
On the property line, there's a 4-foot fence, yes, but.
Could I build in the middle of my property a 4-foot fence that would allow me to build a little garden and keep the deer out?
that would block the porch, right?
Sure, it would. And yeah,
Can
But you would
can I
also
ask you a
carve it
different
out.
question? Can I just ask you a different question real quick? When you talk about gardening, what are you picturing growing?
What are you picturing?
Because I
you know,
might
that's
have some
a
bad news
really
for you.
great question. And I appreciate that because I understand that. So it might be rhubarb, and it might be some wild roses, and it might be some tomato plants in pots.
Matter, it's having a. garden.
Yeah,
Good luck with
if
those
I'm
tomatoes.
lucky. Yeah, I
But
get
okay, I
that.
just didn't want you to have your heart set on like growing like corn and stuff because.
No, ma'am. No, believe me,
Okay.
I'm not new to Georgetown and I'm not new
Right.
to understanding that. I'm trying to create a little bit of thing.
Something
You know, clearly we are trying to be respectful of the design needs of the town. And that's what, you know, we've always tried to do with the houses. And so we could plant a bunch of trees, but a fence seemed to me to be architecturally something that the Rutledges would have done and probably the people before. They were big into ornate pink things that carved out spaces. And so this just seemed logical.
Are there any historic pictures of a fence being on that side?
Not that I have found. There are a lot of historic items, but not fences or pictures.
Yeah, no,
I
I've never seen an
No.
early picture of that
No.
house.
I believe that house in my 60 years, and I'm going to throw that out there right now, has always been that way. And it is filled from toe to timber with old things that we are trying to find homes for. And we're trying to just make it a little bit more livable without changing the flavor and the nature of the house. That's all.
I think we're a bit stalemated here.
Yeah. Is that an evergreen tree there, that big tree?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Would you consider it? You can also prune those up, you know, where there's a lot more room under them, which gives you, it would give you some shade actually, give you a nice area, but you know, then you could walk under there and have seating and stuff like that. You can prune away the lower branches. Just a thought.
You know, I presented what I hope to do. If it's something that you can abide by, I understand. And if it's not, then we'll regroup and I understand that as well. So.
Well, I think first of all, let's settle the fact that you absolutely should repair the broken gate and that the fence, the other fence, is of an approved style in the place that you want to put it, so that those things can go forward. I think that we're saying at this time, the lattice fence cannot go forward as planned. And we are certainly willing to try to work with you for options on that lattice fence. Is that what I'm hearing? Guys, is that what I'm
Yes.
hearing?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
as long as it doesn't
Yes.
obstruct the front of the house.
Yes, but we're willing to try to work on options for some privacy in that yard. Because we're hearing that loud and clear.
And it's a lot of
And
property.
What would those options be?
well, we've begun to try to talk with you about where some of this could be, but we might have to, some person might have to represent us on site to be able to understand what those difficulties are and aren't. Because we're making suggestions that you're saying, well, there's a tree there or there's a this there. In a certain sense, you need to be on the site to say, would something like this work or that work? Because you almost have to see it.
And you know what? I'd be happy to walk over if you want to kind of do that.
I'd love to come over.
We're dying to come over.
We would be happy to show you around. To be, just to clarify, if I planted a line of trees, I wouldn't need your approval. Is that correct?
Not if it obstructed the vision of the house, it would be.
No, but
No,
do-
you can't do that.
we
Can you?
we do have certain landscape kinds of things that are also part of all of this. Yes. If you planted bushes, no. I mean, yes, could you plant a whole huge set of lilac bushes right along the porch? Yeah, you could.
Okay, all right.
You
Well,
wouldn't be-
I'm just trying to understand and to clarify. So we really clearly are committed to Georgetown. I have grown up there. My grandmother was there. My father is there now. I'm not trying to be contentious. I'm just trying to understand what your rules are so that we can abide and that we can sort of also make the house work for us. That's all.
Yeah,
Sure.
I get that.
Yeah.
And that's why I would hope that you would agree to work with us and see if we can't come up with something that works more mutually.
Well, we would be delighted to have any of you come over if you know anyone who wants a ton of old clothing, all the desks from, I believe they were probably the school. We would be delighted.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, well, the metal parts, the desks may not all have survived the mice and the rats, but truly there's a lot of historic stuff there. So regardless of how these conversations go, we would be more than happy to find a good home for them that supports supports Georgetown. So okay.
All right.
Well, thank you very much. I'll consider
Hey,
then
hold
that
on.
the fence between the properties is approved, the gate is approved, and the other parts are tabled until further discussion.
I would so move.
Okay, so.
Second.
You
all in
just made
favor?
the motion, yes.
Yeah, she just made her motion.
Make a motion and then.
All in favor? Aye.
Susan, do you have this as a motion?
I think Cindy said it was a motion.
I hear you.
Okay,
Okay.
so we're motion seconded and approved. So
Right.
we'll get back to you.
But please understand that motion says that the second part of this is tabled so that we can work on something that we can mutually agree upon. We haven't, we have not.
I understand that you have not approved a fence in front of the house. What is the process to then move forward?
I think the process to then move forward is to meet on site with one of members of the commission. And I think if our chair is willing to do that, if Joan is willing to do that should be, to see if we can come up with a mutual solution.
That'd be great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Because we would like to come up with a mutual solution. I, your
Thank-
neighbor, would like to come up with the mutuals.
Okay,
Thank you,
So-
Mrs. Neely. I appreciate that.
thank you. Thanks for waiting so long too.
All right. Well, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Right.
You.
Okay. Whew. And so on the certificate, she's actually written add fence panels to match existing and repair gate. It doesn't say anything about the lattice fence.
I think
So,
you should distinguish then
Stipulate it, okay.
in your certificate that we have approved the portion of the wood and lattice fence that is on the adjoining property line. In accord with that map, that little map that's got the little lines on it. You know, the ILC that they gave us, we can even circle this fence is approved. And this one is not, and literally attach it.
I think you could cite why it's not.
What?
Which- on
Yeah.
Page 52,
Right,
um,
E1 or something.
yeah, B1.
Yeah.
okay.
You know, there's one other piece of this, and that's if you approve obstructing the view with the 6-foot fence, there are going to be all kinds of people in Georgetown that are going to want to erect 6-foot fences in front of their houses to have complete privacy. I mean,
Well, yeah, yeah.
No, I mean,
No,
to me,
no, that's a huge
it's clear
problem.
that they can't put a fence in front of the house.
Yeah.
So while everybody's here, since I offered to go over it, Betsy, I'd love to meet you over there if you want to go.
ooh, that'd be great.
So I'm looking at the front of the pink house, and you know, there's that one room off to the right, the 1-story room with the
Yeah.
window. And if we could come to an agreement with her that they can come out towards the front yard as much as possible and possibly across there, but not across the porch. Is everybody agreeable to that? I didn't want to suggest it and, you know, throw that out there until I talked to everybody. So that might be what we kind of come up with. I understand the shade. The other thing is, how old is that tree? If it's in those old pictures, it may not be there that much longer.
Well, I don't know, but that's why I
yeah.
think that this will not resolve without somebody on that site.
Right, okay. But I don't want to misspeak. So if the lattice in front of that one,
How would you feel about the, instead of just a pure lattice fence in the area that she's trying to create, if they went with the 4-foot high solid
With the lattice on
the
top.
lattice on the top to match the other. I know it would come into the front yard some, but that would give them a lot more privacy in that area if that's
well-
what they wind up they're doing.
But not across the front of the house,
Not
Bob,
across
right?
the front of the house, but from
it's
that.
that one room, just the one end. Not-
Yeah,
not
I mean,
across-
it could go in one panel where you were talking about, Joan, with the,
Yeah, yeah.
to overlap the room. Wouldn't have a big problem with that. To me,
Okay.
I wouldn't either, provided it was appropriately painted, because.
Yeah, I don't want it to be pink.
Well, because the fence between that house and the cabin,
Yeah,
part of that fence is a brown fence.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fence that belongs as much to the cabin as it does.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that there were trees all over that yard.
Yeah,
They recently took them out.
yeah. The other thing, you know, she was going to be happy with the 6-foot lattice fence, so I wouldn't offer her the lattice topped wooden fence unless that was part of the compromise to,
I mean, it would certainly go to adding to the privacy.
yeah, yeah. Okay, well,
You know, see what kind of options you can come up with.
okay. Betsy, stay on after everybody else is gone.
I
and We can swap phone numbers, okay? All right. So is anybody here for this last thing, or are we just,
Sean is.
oh,
And
sorry. Okay, so Larry Pyers, 506 Fifth Street. And Sean recuses himself. And let's go ahead and describe your project there.
Mr. Sean, what is an awning window?
yes, ma'am. It
I can't hear you.
opens
You're
from
breaking.
the bottom up. It comes down.
Yeah, I've been having trouble with Sean all night long. I can't hear a thing he says.
Oh, that's not good. Oh,
Sorry.
And your picture's frozen.
yeah, it opens from the bottom out.
Opens from the bottom out, up. Yeah.
Yeah,
And Sean, these windows are all on the second story, the top story?
yes, they are.
What's the advantage of that kind of window?
It will shed the weather. You can have the window open and you won't get any weather in the house if it rains. None of the everywhere where we're proposing the new windows, they're all fixed windows. They do not open.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
so it allows you to open the window.
It allows you to open the windows. The ones that can't, where you were at on the gable.
Yeah.
That one. That's the back of the
So those
building.
would be sliding windows. That one. Those two would be awning windows. So they
Awning
open from the bottom. And so if it rains, it would shed the water away from the window.
Does that really work? Have you
It
ever?
does.
Wow.
Well, it doesn't really rain here, so there's that.
Like a
Sean?
balloon.
Sean, that is the back of the building, correct?
That is the back of the building, yes.
Okay, and does everybody's aware of which building we're
Yes.
Yeah.
in? Okay, and these sliders are on the side?
They're on the side on the porches. So they'll almost look exactly what's there, but they will open because they have a center divider already.
Yeah,
So they're going to look almost identical to what's there.
and you're doing nothing with the front of the building?
Yes, I believe there's two windows in the front that we were changing to an awning also.
That in here somewhere?
Yes, it's on the back of the other,
Back the other end of the building.
it's this thing, yes.
Those,
It's-
that's
it's-
the front.
That's the front, yes, but yeah, that's the front ones. And they still have the frame around them and all of that.
Yes, and we'll actually be adding trim around them. Right now, there's no trim on them.
Yeah. Well, that would be nice.
So if I'm looking at the picture, the real picture, the photograph, are those the windows behind the giant pine tree?
The ones on the porch are.
Yes,
Okay,
these are.
so it looks like there's like 4 or 5 different window shapes going on there, or different windows along that whole side of that building, is that correct? Or are they all?
On the first floor, they're small sliders, about the same size as these, with a transom above. That's on the first floor.
And what is the purpose of your changing the windows?
So they open.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
So they're actually windows.
Sort of basic, actually.
And they would be fiberglass.
Like the pane is fiberglass?
No, the frame.
The
Yes.
frame would be fiberglass.
Oh, okay.
They would be the same window as below,
Now,
when those were all fiberglass.
why wouldn't you just have a double hung window?
Where?
because the space doesn't permit really a double hung window. I mean, if you look at the space
Yeah.
between your roof and you
Oh,
don't
I see.
really have, you don't really have that kind of space.
Okay, I see.
The ceilings are fairly low in the second floor.
That's an understatement.
Awning windows on the gable ends make sense because, I mean, the other option you could go would be like a casement and then you're gonna have the weather issue. So I think that's probably the best answer for those.
So from a contractor's perspective, you would support this kind of window.
I would, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, we have windows again on page 68. There we are.
So these are just going in the same openings that you're gonna replace with a new window that opens.
Correct. Yes, we're not changing the size or placement of the opening.
Cindy, this building's non-contributing, correct?
Well, it's interesting. It's non-contributing, but the front end of it, if you look at that front picture, that front end of it was the Courier building.
Oh, yeah.
And then they added to the whole back and the whole top. So the back and the top are, you know, there. If you know, that's
Yeah.
unfortunately sideways, but
Yeah.
but yeah. Here, see the back end. All of that back end is brand new. So
Yeah.
it obviously overwhelmed the little Courier building front. But when you stand at the Alpine Hose and turn around, it would be wonderful if those, because it still has the two old windows in the door
Uh-huh.
that came into the Courier building. But no, it's a non-conforming building at this point because it's been so heavily altered.
Okay.
It still has concrete pieces in the back room from the old printing press.
Yes.
Really?
The printing press is still in town. It's down at the Georgetown Museum.
Wow.
Wow.
So there's, you know,
So was this a newspaper office?
it with the Georgetown Courier. Yeah, but the whole back end of the building and the second floor wasn't on it.
No, I
It was a
understand.
little
but-
newspaper
so it's
office, yeah.
Courier a newspaper? I'm not
Yes,
familiar.
yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, we have page 68 and this is always hard because it really applies to historic structures.
Well, I think adding something that's actually functional to a building is kind of important too, so.
Oh, I think it's very important.
You're just trying to find a sighting, Cindy?
Yes,
Yeah.
the only setting I can find is on page 70, and it says windows should be simple in shape, arrangement, and detail.
Okay, that sounds good.
What's the letter on it, Cindy?
It's I3.
Okay.
Out of section 6, page 70.
And we could go with J1 for the trim.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
I think that should do it.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
I move that we accept the application to replace windows.
I second it.
Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Against? All right. Thanks very much. And
Thank you.
yeah, but now we have Strauss Park. I'm writing, so just go ahead and talk
Whoa.
amongst yourselves.
Okay.
Can I ask Kent a question, please?
Yes.
Kent, our agenda says this is a presentation. Are we being asked at this point to do an approval on Strauss Park?
That's up to you all, I guess. I mean, you asked for the construction plans to be done and to be returned to you.
Correct.
That's what we've done. So
Right, that, no,
Um,
we said conditionally, it looked like we were going in the right direction. We should proceed with the construction plan. There yeah, obviously are some details about which there are likely to be questions. But I didn't know whether it was scheduled as an item for, yeah.
what would you prefer? That it's getting pretty late, maybe just discussion tonight and go over everything and then
I
go.
think that might make sense if we want to bring up the questions and so.
Okay, because with nobody here to actually address questions or anything, we won't have any answers.
Well, Kyle's here.
Kyle's here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And also, Chair, there's one person that will like public input before you get going. I know at the beginning, Deanne wasn't available or wasn't here yet. So whatever procedure you would like to use with that in general. But no, Cindy, I take it as a point. I mean, there is someone to answer questions and to go through it as much as possible, but it's up to you, the board as a whole, whether what you want to do with it tonight. So
I guess let's take a look here and see what we've got, and if it looks like it's very close, we can go from there, and if not, we'll make a list. How's that?
sure.
Sounds good.
Okay. Hi, Kyle. Sorry, I was not looking at the screen when you were on there.
I understand. Can you hear me okay?
We
Yes.
can. We
Yes.
can.
Okay.
Okay. So do you want to walk us through? Or do we want to go through and just ask questions about things?
I could walk you through just the generality of it. I can share my screen. I have the PDF open.
Okay.
And then I think it'd mostly just be asking questions, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. So give me 1 second here. I'll share my screen. Can you see that okay?
Haven't seen anything. Yes, there we are.
Yes.
Okay.
Kyle,
Yeah.
can you share the color overview first, because it allows us to see where everything's placed, really?
The master plan graphic?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can zoom in if you want. So this is the final master plan that we last reviewed last year. I know it's been a while. And there is some changes requested to this, fairly minor stuff, but we have added some components to this. So this doesn't show exactly everything, but it's all in these construction documents. So as you may recall, we got the conditional approval on this master plan, and we proceeded with doing the full 95% construction document. So that's where we're at right now, is the 95% complete. So a quick orientation, we got 6th Street on the left, Rose Street on the bottom, and 5th Street. I'm sure you all know where Strauss Park is.
Yes.
And these, can you see my mouse moving?
Yes.
Okay. Here's the proposed large shelter, and then we also have a smaller couple right here, and a proposed restroom, storage shed, fire pits. I know the existing large evergreen tree is dying, but we're proposing replacing that with a similar tree. And then the parking lot. Is there any questions regarding this graphic?
Well, in the plans, it said that you were taking out the iron fence. Does it get replaced?
It does.
Where
So
does it go?
We're showing it right along 5th Street, right here.
Oh, okay. So it does not become, I looked for it in the plans because I saw that you had said, yes, we're taking it out and then we're going to replace it. And I thought, I don't find it. Where is it? So I moved it up on 5th Street.
Yeah, it's
And so that
a little different location, but it's there.
that's additional landscaping. There isn't any landscaping right there.
Yes, there is. Up there, there are trees.
Oh, there are.
Yeah, there are trees on that one. So Kyle, the coming down to along Rose Street, those entrances, are all open.
Correct.
Yeah, that's open. Is there anything that blocks the grass entrance there?
Boulder.
Are you talking about the grass right?
No, I'm talking about right as you walk in off of Rose Street. Can you walk right onto that grass?
Yes. You can walk across the flagstone paving onto the
Okay,
grass.
but the bushes and okay, I sort of see.
Yeah, we do show a landscape bed kind of between the walk right here and the grass to provide a little bit
Okay.
of a separation.
And is the same true on the other side?
Yeah, exactly.
And does that go all the way across or just, it doesn't indicate it's all the way across?
Correct. So the landscape bed is just, it ends right here, and then here's the flagstone paving entry. And then this is another landscape bed to help provide some buffer and screening of the parking lot.
So you'd have to go from the Rose Street onto the grass, you'd have to walk through the landscape bed. So there is effective blocking there. with
Yes.
You, if you're walking down Rose Street, you could just enter in this way.
Yeah.
Or you can enter in this way. It's like
Yes.
that.
Yes, and it keeps you from running straight in across Rose Street onto the lawn. You
Correct.
do have some blocking.
Correct. And I will point out that there is another entrance right here towards the fire pit. But similarly, there is some sort of blockage. We do have retaining wall, or I guess freestanding seat wall in the fire pit in landscape boulders. So it isn't just a straight shot into the grass. So you would come either this way, come in, or you can come this way and maneuver through it, or you can come this way.
Yeah, you would have to be inside the park to access the grass.
Correct.
Kyle, that ADA ramp, is the flagstone actually higher than the sidewalk along there?
Where is that?
Are you talking about this one right here?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the existing concrete ADA ramp. And this is also the existing flagstone sidewalk.
Sidewalk. That's the flagstone sidewalk along the street.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So that all.
So that's to the curb. Got you. I was thinking you had to get into the park on it.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's
Okay.
Yeah.
okay. And this moves the large bench from the corner and moves a portion of the bench up the street.
Yeah, and that might be better to show you on the actual
let's keep going. I just wanted to get a.
So that bench structure, the stone bench where we're proposing a memorial plaque be placed on that, that's located right here. That's this object.
So currently, just refresh my memory, is there a bench in the front of this circle here, this far left circle?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's where the
So we're
big,
getting rid of that bench?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so,
being,
big structure there. And
Yeah,
all
that's
that big structure would go.
yeah, that is correct.
and so we're not gonna have a bench there.
No, we do have a brick seat wall that's right here. And then we're relocating that existing mining cart to the corner right here.
Front rather than behind the tree.
The tree is on top of all this, right? This new tree.
Yeah, and this is shown at a full grown size tree. Obviously, when it's first planted, it'll be quite a bit smaller. But as it grows, over many years, the canopy could extend over it, similar to how it is right now.
So what are the little tiny circles that I see to the left of the cart? Like, in other words, are people walking in there or what?
No, those are proposed plantings. So this is a landscape bed all the way around it. These are individual plant symbols, those little
Okay.
circles.
Okay,
And then this is the existing flagstone walk along
Yeah.
6th Street and Rose Street. And then we're showing a proposed extending that flagstone paving a little bit inwards and then throughout the park site.
So what is the aesthetic purpose of taking the bench out there?
Partly to give us more room. My understanding is that it's a large bench that didn't need to stay and could use some repair. It has some retaining walls as well. And so it would be better to just recreate a smaller version of that, but still have that character.
Yeah, I'm just going to comment that that is the only angle bench that you can sit on in this town and see a completely different view of the landscape. And is there any reason we couldn't have the same size, like keep this bench that you've put in, but put the smaller bench in here as well, and maybe eliminate the boulder, which is there?
Okay, so just to make sure I'm following you correctly, you would like to consider having another bench kind of where the existing one is right
Not-
now, angled?
So, if it could be, I mean, this is the sidewalk starts where?
So the edge of the sidewalk is right here.
Yeah. So why can't it be
And then-
further forward here? It doesn't have to be in your plantings. It can be further forward.
Well, that's on the sidewalk.
That's on the sidewalk that
Oh,
you can't get on the sidewalk.
yeah, but I thought the sidewalk was between the dashes and the black line, right?
The sidewalk is between basically this dark dash line.
Uh-huh, but when you turn the corner, there's space here.
Yeah, and so here is,
There's another bench.
Right,
there's a
The
bench
seat
right
wall.
here.
Yeah.
okay, but it's not like a sit-down bench with a back, right?
No,
There
it's
is
not
no
a bench
back,
with
but
a
you could
back,
sit
but
on
it's
it.
a sitting wall.
You're still not gonna, you're still missing this view. I mean, this is a really traditional place where the bench was, and that you would be able to look down Rose Street, down 6th Street, over to the library, look at all the events that happen over here on this little deck by the library. I mean, there's a lot going on to see from this side.
So you could sit on this seat wall and look any direction, this way towards the library, down Rose Street. We also do show 2 new benches along Rose Street, one right here and one right here as well.
I mean, this view right here is sensational, looking this way up, but you know, I'm just throwing in my 2 cents worth, and the fact that it's traditionally has been in this town for a long time.
Well, yeah.
Well, Cindy, if I'm not wrong, I think we already did discuss the bench and we were agreeable that it would be
That it could be moved, yes.
changed and moved.
Yes,
So
we
that
were.
was something we did discuss at an earlier time. So
I know.
kind of been already given
I
the
was
sign off
briefed
on that.
I was just putting in my pitch.
Right.
Why is that boulder there? I mean, why can't the bench sit where the boulder is? The boulder is just strictly like decorative, right? Nobody's sitting on that boulder, right?
They could, but yes, you're correct. It's part of the aesthetic of the park. To keep a little bit more natural look, we incorporated local granite boulders kind of throughout the site.
Yeah, that's a question though. And it's a different question than the one that Betsy is pursuing at the moment. But I think some of the boulders throughout the site may create problems,
Yeah, they're
especially on snowy periods where they are not very visible. I think that people are going to struggle. I think there are some major sites, you know, where you have the monument boulders, where they're in a cluster. That might work, but where some of them are sort of more randomly placed, where people conceivably could walk in the future, that might be a real problem, Kyle, when the snow gets deep and people don't know that they're not on flat ground underneath.
Well, also, and I'm particularly concerned about these three over on the right here. No, those are great. Oh, that's great. Up here, right in the walkway. I mean, we have a lot of older retired people. I happen to be one of those.
Those are in the grass, aren't they?
Yes, this is in the grass area, the bluegrass turf.
On grass.
Yeah.
These ones
Yes.
are,
But they're boulders, and when you can see them, it's one thing. But what happens when you've got a foot of snow, and people are walking through the park? I think the ones that are in the grass and not along sort of the line of entry or something not gathered, I think the scattered boulders can be a hazard.
okay, understood.
There's
Depends on how big you make them. If you make them big enough to sit on, they should be pretty visible.
Yeah, they are quite big. They range in size. We list 3 different sizes, from roughly 2 foot by 2 foot all the way to 3.5 foot to 3.5 foot.
but not necessarily shaped. I mean, you could either get poked when you sat down on them, or they could be rocks that you could actually sit on. But that depends on the shape of the boulder, right?
Yeah, we give approximate sizes. So I think all of them would be at a minimum a size that you'd be able to sit on. Some would be a little large to sit on. But if you feel that they're in the way or could be a hazard, then we could certainly remove those ones that you
Not
feel.
where they're grouped, Kyle. You know, you've got them grouped over in that the corner that leads down towards the parking lot. They're grouped around a tree. You're not going to run into them accidentally.
Yeah.
The 3 that are grouped, when you have the really large boulder where you're putting some of the monument thing, that group becomes sort of a group. It's the ones that are in the lawn.
Yeah,
Outside
no, I
of the fact that
understand.
it makes the difficulty to mow the lawn. It also that I just think there are 3 of them in the lawn on one side and 1 of them in the lawn on the other side.
Yeah.
And those I think are a little bit, I mean, granted, they're boulders. If they didn't work out, we could move them, but we don't want to have moved them because somebody's had a problem with them.
It's just a lot of action, at least in my experience, that goes on in this site at various times. And especially if you're just coming out from the pit.
Somebody's gonna trip on them.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about that.
So the ones that are circled around the fire pit are flat sandstone slab boulders for
Right.
seating.
No, we're not talking about
We're
that.
not talking about those.
Yeah. No, I understand that the ones that are in the lawn or by themselves
We're
are a
talking,
concern for tripping. The ones that are gathered in groups, kind of
Yeah.
at the entrance, those ones can stay. But the way I'm hearing it is this one, this one, this one, this
That
one,
guy.
this one.
Yeah, and in that case, you might extend the bench a little bit.
Or put a real bench in there, like this one over here.
Like this one,
Yeah,
put another bench there. That
yeah.
I just
match
want to
that.
point out that could cover the view of that mining cart, which is a prominent
Yeah,
feature.
which is part of the symbol of it, yeah.
But right now it's covered, right, by a bench?
well, it's
Right
behind-
now,
No,
it's
no,
more than
no,
that.
it's not. Not in this.
But
Right now it is, yes, but that's only because we're trying to save the cart and we've got a fence around it.
okay, I can give up this notion of the bench here. I just wanted to speak my piece about the traditional nature of the bench that was always located there. That is no longer going to be located there. So, okay. No, so you could leave the boulder here, right? Have those 2 boulders, because they sort of are defining the track, aren't they, Kyle?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
And I think these, what is here, this big thick circle is the tree, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah,
And is there some differentiation? Are these all plantings that the boulders are up against here on the left?
Right, kind of right through here,
No, up here on the right of the circle. Yeah.
there. Yes, those are
So if they're
plants.
up against plantings, people are not going to probably trip on
No,
those.
they're gonna be fine. It's
Right.
the ones that are out in the open.
Right. Because it's dogs, kids, people, and sometimes tremendous amount of action going on. And I think they're very beautiful, but I do have a concern for safety on those ones we discussed previously. That's
Okay.
just,
And it-
but I'm not the arbiter of this. We have to all sort of talk about this.
You've got one that's next to the trash can, trash receptacle, right on the edge of the walkway between that one there.
Oh,
Yeah,
And the one that is not the one that's in the middle, I agree that, probably serves no real purpose other than decorative. But the one below it is on the edge of the handicap picnic table area.
oh yeah.
And-
We need to talk about that
we
too.
need to talk about the handicap picnic table.
So Kyle, what I don't get about the handicap picnic table is what, you can't slide a wheelchair under that table.
you can, because there's only seating on 3 sides. So you'd be able to put a wheelchair on this 4th side right here and pull right up to the table.
But is this purpose of this to be a handicap table?
It's to be a handicap accessible table. So, you don't need to be in a wheelchair to sit here. But if someone is in a wheelchair, they could pull up to this one side and sit with other people.
Do they come in black?
Yes. And that's what we have specified for the color.
You don't like the purple one?
Oh, please.
I want to be sitting next to this man, you see? I want my.
Okay, are we ready to move on? It's
Yeah.
gonna be a while. Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know the best way to do this. If you just have questions and I can field it, or this is the construction plan. So I know it's not quite as easy to follow as the colored rendering, but I will point out that we did incorporate a windscreen wall. Right
Nice.
here
What's
for
the
comments.
windscreen made of?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
What's the windscreen made of? I couldn't figure that one out.
It's wood using rough sawn cedar.
Like
Timber?
like the booths.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And you're
It is.
moving the gas light from where it is on the, I'm pointing to the screen. You can't see me pointing to the screen.
Me too, I keep doing that.
The gas light from where it is now towards 6th Street, you're moving it out to the windscreen?
Correct. So my understanding is there's currently 3 gas lights on the existing shelters, and the comment is to incorporate one of them with this new design. And we weren't able to incorporate it on the new proposed shelters due to code height limits. So we found a spot on the windscreen wall where we can get it up high enough and it would still serve a purpose, because this area, being between the shelters, might be a little dark in certain.
Is that the contemporary looking light? Cindy?
No. That's the very old gas lamp that is
BB light.
currently on the far side of the booths towards 6th Street.
Mhm.
I think that's a good location because you could go ahead and put a plaque or something there that.
Yeah.
It has some prominence. It's kind of got its own space.
Yeah.
And put something in explaining what it is and the history behind it. I think that's a good location.
Yeah, and we're also proposing a information kiosk panel placed along that wall below the light, so that could also offer a little bit of illumination for that panel.
Now, is that a virtual panel or is that like tacking up papers?
Be like tacking up paper in a display case.
Boy, be interesting to see if we couldn't move to something that could be.
I don't know that we want to electrify anything there.
Okay, got it.
No,
Okay, okay.
they're very bright, they're very,
Yes. Kyle, about the booths, they are there interior separators for the different booths if we want them to be interiorly separated?
So we've had some discussions on that and the best way to incorporate that. And it sounds like the town would prefer to add those separately, maybe contract privately with a fabricator to do that separately from this project. So it is configured to allow for those to be added, but we're not showing those on these plans. So there's a few different options to do that. And I could flip to the shelter drawings if that would help.
okay.
But
Yeah,
we're
let's
not
do
showing
the
a
shelter.
detail for that. So right now it would just be the shelter with siding on the back and the two sides. And then we would have the posts, but we're not showing the partitions. We were originally talking about doing some sort of removable partition that could be taken in and out.
Yeah, that's where we
And-
were when you left us last, yeah.
Yeah. And so where we've ended up now is, the removable shelving partitions are not included as part of this project and will be completed by the town separately.
So
That's
how would we do
dangerous.
that?
Okay, staying with these for a minute, how do they relate size-wise to the existing?
The overall size of the shelters.
Yes,
So fairly similar. I don't know the existing dimensions off the top of my head, but it's about 100 feet long for the main one. And they're 10 feet deep or wide. So it would create, a 10 foot by 10 foot booth area. And then where the existing one is kind of one structure that's L-shaped, we broke it into two structures. So we have the 100-foot long one and then a, roughly 20-foot long one. That's a smaller one.
okay, but are they wider than the current ones? Are they taller than the current ones?
Yes.
Both,
Wider and taller.
Both. Yeah.
both. But not substantially wider or taller.
No, I'm not too sure how I could do takeoffs, but taller, I don't know how tall the existing ones are, but these ones are a minimum of 7 feet 9 inches tall. And that's
In the front?
their code. Yeah, in front.
Okay,
And then they get taller as they go towards the back. So the roof is sloping towards the park.
Right.
And
Needs-
then the depth, the width, however you want to call it, I believe the existing ones were roughly 8 feet deep, something like that.
And maybe-
And we're showing 10 feet.
And you're showing 10 feet, yeah, okay.
Okay.
And the floor of those is a concrete?
Yeah, so as part of the foundation for these, it's going to be a reinforced concrete slab so that we could anchor these into the ground. And so we're showing a colored concrete finish for just underneath the shelters.
And Cindy,
Okay,
do we have a restriction on colors of concrete?
we do for concrete that's, but not necessarily for a concrete slab for a building. But
Okay,
we do that's one of my questions later on, is the color for sidewalk and that kind of thing. So this you were just planning to do as a gray color, the gray color concrete, yes?
We're specifying it having the Davis color sandstone.
The sandstone, okay, yeah. I have,
Yeah, it'd still have rebar reinforcement within it, the footings, all that stuff, but just they would add the Davis color to the concrete
Right.
mixture.
it should have a sort of a double dose, a 2-pound dose instead of a 1-pound dose, incidentally, for,
Okay.
yeah, because the 1 pound goes for curbs but not for sidewalks or any other kinds of use. And then when we get to the sidewalk, I'd like to talk about that sidewalk that runs behind the booth. It goes to the restrooms.
Okay.
The sidewalk, if you look around the district, the historic district was improved in 1986, all of the curbs, all of the gutters, all of the handicap ramps, all of the driveway pans were done in a sandstone color, but it was an aggregate concrete. It has light aggregate stone in it. So that it ends up being, somewhat more of a stone look, and rather than a smooth concrete. And I would think it was appropriate for those, not necessarily for the floor of a booth, but for those visible sections that attach to those curbs and gutters and things, that to have that level of aggregate. It's not a heavy aggregate, it's not, it's, some aggregate is washed to the extent that the aggregate pops up all over the place. This is a medium size. If we can, you can take a look at it and you'd be able to judge about what size aggregate that is, that goes in it. But I think that would be appropriate for the walkways that go to from Rose Street back to the restrooms, and for
Okay.
that little concrete area that's back there, right there.
Yeah. Okay.
So that would blend down nicely. And actually, check out any one of the little driveway that's across 6th Street is a good sample of the aggregate. Most of the handicap ramps, you can see it in. Most of the gutters, you can see it in. The places that are smooth concrete are the places that we've repaired over the years and haven't quite gotten to match. So let's try to match it. Does that work for you?
Yeah, I think that's something that we could do, specify.
It's a small detail, but it will be noticeable.
It is, and it changes the look of it. So you want to be able to see some of that aggregate and
Right.
not just have and there's ways to, they call it the cream on the top, and you can remove that cream so you can expose some of that aggregate.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's if you walk around in downtown and really look at what the concrete parts are, that's what they are.
Okay.
So Kyle, have you been up here to Georgetown?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so you have a feel of the look of the area and so forth.
Yeah.
In the booths, you will not, that LED strip, because LEDs are so bright, that LED strip is up in the highest corner of that booth, isn't it?
We're showing 2 strips, one towards the front and one towards the back, to get the right amount of illumination in there. And I could flip to that. Bear with me one moment.
It's down in electrical somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's a strip, and then that's a strip.
Wait, where are you?
Can you see my hand?
Yeah, go down to the one on the bottom.
Yeah. So we got one there and then one there.
So they don't hang below the front edge of the roof line.
Correct. They would be concealed by, you got the structural beam going across. It's not below that.
Yeah, because we really do want them concealed, because they are, if I can stand across the street and see them, they will be just overly bright.
Well, you want them like, I can't remember. The stalls are open the whole year, right? I mean, we don't have doors on the front of these.
No, nothing on the front.
Okay, and how often are the lights on in there? Just for the Christmas market, or?
Well, that depends. If you want the park to show up, you turn the lights in the booth on.
Maybe not. I don't know. Depends on
I'm
the
sure
lighting.
you could
that
make
you
the
want.
lights dimmable.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
Well, as long as they don't shine out, straight out, which would be non-dark sky anyway. So they need to be up past the beam so they don't shine forward. They'll still illuminate the booth just fine.
I mean, for Christmas market, I think you want that light. Like people
Yes,
want
yeah.
to see what's in there.
And typically, I noticed also you've gone to a pretty warm Kelvin.
Not too sure where Kelvin is.
Well, I found it in a couple of places and you were in the 3000 range.
Okay.
So that's a warmer light than a pure cold, because
Yeah.
LEDs get. And then the heating elements also up in that roof.
Correct. So the heating element is centered in there. It's located right there, if you can see it.
Well, let me tell you, the Christmas market booth people would love you forever.
I know. They're gonna.
Yes.
We're spoiling them now.
Oh, well,
The
you
heating element
actually,
that actually works, they would think you were wonderful.
well, that's going to encourage more booth people to come.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, no, and you have electrical outlets along the back.
Correct. Yeah. So each booth has electrical outlet along with a switch for the heating panel
Uh-huh.
for each booth. And I was questioning the electrical engineer on that, and that would be required, especially if there are partitions installed. So
I understand that, but there is one master switch that you can turn it off so somebody can't come along and turn on your heating lights, correct?
correct.
Your
Yes.
heat. Okay, where are your lights?
and then on the lights, when you turn them on, do they all come on at once? Or are they separate?
So you would have a master switch that can control all of them, but there are individual switches for each booth to control it as well.
I was wondering if we had the front lights and the back lights on separate switches so we wouldn't have to have so much light on if we don't have an event going on.
You don't have to have any
I
light
think
on.
that's
do
a
you?
good idea, Sean.
But you may want some ambient light out of the booth, and if you put the back one on and it's way up high in that corner, you might get
Yeah.
a very nice feel out of the park
Yeah.
without getting a ton of light. I mean,
You'll get-
Yeah, that would, if you can split the front from the back, and then that way you can do that.
We can certainly explore anything that you guys would want to, but I would point out that the current electrical system, the panel, it is completely maxed out. So adding more circuits, we would be adding quite a bit to the electrical panel, which is, this big unit structure.
There'd just be two switches in each booth then, so you can turn off turn off the front
Well,
light.
it looks like there's a switch for the heat and a switch for the lights.
yeah,
Correct.
so both
You
sets of
just
lights.
add one more switch.
There's one more switch. You don't have to add another circuit.
Right.
So if you turned on all the lights, but you want the front ones off, you'd have to go flip all the booth lights for the front one.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be,
How
Okay.
often is that gonna happen? Couldn't be that bad.
yeah, that would be okay. Well, we're still on lighting. There is one piece of lighting that I very strongly object to. Because I think your BBs, your pedestrian lights are lovely. They're well chosen. They are well placed. Do you have the thing that shows where lights sit? The electrical plan that shows where the AA and BB is. My objection is the AA light.
This one right here for the parking lot.
Yeah,
I think that there is, first of all, it's a 25-foot steel pole.
Ooh.
Secondly, it has a cobra head basically on it. It's not quite a cobra head. I understand it's not quite a cobra head. And it's got an LED platelet And we are struggling enormously with the LED plate, what we have placed on Argentine Street. And we would never put up a 25-foot pole anywhere. And we certainly have never allowed anybody to put up a 25-foot pole. Even the lights that are down in our new Bighorn community, their parking lots are on 14-foot poles, because that's, we just don't do that. The other thing I was wondering is, does that create a whole new line over the top of the parking lot also? Is that what I'm seeing on that drawing?
It's not, it would be below ground.
Okay, that's underground. All right, if we need to light that parking lot, we're going to have to do it some other way than that.
Could we
Okay.
just more the pole base, the type BB?
That
Couple
would
of
be
those in the
pretty,
parking lot?
like 4 of them or something.
We can do type BBs. It depends on how much of the parking lot you want to light. That's the reason why it was the height that it is. It's a typical parking lot pole height. But if we need to bring that down, we can do more lights, or we could just do one 15-footer and it lights what it lights. Call it good.
Yeah, we're pretty sensitive to over lighting up here.
And we're very sensitive to large parking lot light poles.
Yeah, like we
You
don't
know,
want it to look like the Broncos Stadium.
Well, and what's happened to us, for example, in our county courthouse, they in their parking lot, they indicate these are dark skies lights, but they aren't full cutoff lights. And nothing you put up 25 feet in the air is going to do anything but broadcast light all night long on everything that's around it. And at one sense, if that's like the argument we had all those years back with Public Service Company before there was an Xcel Energy about the lights we use in our downtown along 6th Street. I mean, their idea of lighting was 20-foot poles and double the number that we have. And I understand that's a certain level of security lighting, but it's just disaster on the ambiance of a place. So yeah, somehow we have to rediscuss parking lot lighting. I can see putting something down fairly close to the storage shed. On one end of the parking lot.
The storage shed.
And then I can also see us talking about one at, closer. I can see putting 2 lights in, one closer to the storage shed and one closer to Rose Street.
Like there, and
I
then
agree with that.
Yep.
there.
And is this remaining dirt, this parking lot?
It would be a recycled asphalt millings
Oh,
up until this point, and then it's the existing dirt.
Dirt.
Yeah, so this is the cutoff line.
okay.
And if they lay the millings properly and roll them, it
No, I think it's a great idea. What I was thinking is, boy, by the time we put in something that looks like asphalt and that big bright light, it's pretty industrial looking.
no, it's the wrong, we have to readdress the parking lot lighting.
Okay, so something more along the BB type light,
Yes.
15-foot, that style, but do 2 of them.
Well, and I'm not sure you're even going to go to 15 feet, but the BB lights are what, 10?
So I was talking to the electrical yesterday, and he could do them at 12 foot. That's the lowest he can get them.
12 foot is perfect.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because our street lights in the downtown area are 11 something. So 12 foot is perfect.
Okay.
So just do more BB lights.
Yeah, I love those lights.
yeah.
I mean, it ties together with everything else.
Yeah.
It might be smart to put if we in the future need a third one in the middle where the AA light is now, just at least put the electrical in for the underground. So we can always add a light later if we need to.
That's a good idea.
There's a street light out there somewhere. I was gonna go down at night and look at where the street light was. The other thing is that in the town plan, ultimately, you know, the kind of street lights that we have going down 6th Street
Mhm.
that are reproductions of our original lights, and those are reproductions of lights that were first placed here in the 1880s. There is a plan at some point along the line to put one on the park side of the street. And it would be, you know, really just about, you know, where we currently have planned a sidewalk, but that's okay. I mean, you know, it would be right through there. So your BB light that's in the park there is very close to taking care of that. And in the BB light, that bulb is a regular bulb, I think.
I think they were LEDs.
Yes, but it's a bulb.
Yeah.
It's not a platelet. It's a bulb that you can literally screw into the light bulb.
Let me verify that. Let me see.
Because the other thing that we have to watch for, Kyle, is that we have to maintain these ourselves. And so we have to have stuff that our guys can get to. And that if it's need to replace a light, we can possibly do it ourselves.
With the Home Depot bulb.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. We buy the light fixture
I-
downtown at Home Depot. That's
Absolutely.
where we get them.
Right.
Yeah. I can follow up. I don't want to use up your time, but I'm not sure if they are bulbs or not, but I could find that out.
I think they are. I think I found that in there someplace.
Okay. Okay. Well, I made a note to verify that, to check that. And I understand that you want the bulb.
Yeah, and this one is a, yeah, because the light source is recessed and hidden 2 or 3 inches above the features lens aperture. So it's up in the top piece. I was interested in them. They're nice.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I'll take a look at that. I don't want to.
I just want to say that I'm, of course, late to this party. I wasn't in on all the initial planning, but this looks like it's going to be absolutely beautiful. It's very exciting, I think.
Yeah, very necessary, very
I'm
needed.
just thrilled. I do have kind of a crazy question. Okay, so everybody just bear with me. Having had my children spend every weekend up here, and my grandchildren are spending every weekend up here. When we do Christmas market, one of the biggest parts of Christmas market for the kids is that they get to roast the marshmallows.
Oh, we have that.
And that is going to be doable in this particular fire.
Yes.
Yeah. So
So if marshmallows are dripping down into the thing, it's okay? Because the kids are not really good at this, you know, they're like dropping marshmallows in and so forth.
yeah, we're showing a wood-fired fire pit that
Good.
they would be able to use.
Good.
Okay. Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you. Phew.
Could we see the front of the restroom, please?
Yeah.
Of the what?
Front of the restroom.
Oh, I thought you said restaurant.
Now, this is a order it up and they bring it kind of structure, right?
Yep. It comes prefabricated. They just set it down. It'll be installed in a day.
Ah. And what's the
But-
color?
And
The color,
what's the siding? We can always change the color maybe.
So the whole thing is concrete, but it has a lap siding texture to it.
Oh, so it's like a molded siding,
Yeah.
like it came out of a mold. And can you get it in a dark color?
You can. Yeah. So it's colored. I believe the colors that we discussed are natural honey. And then the roof is a nuss brown.
I think that we may, my computer says my battery's running low. How can it run low? It's plugged.
I think that was on my screen. Sorry.
Just because we want to mess with your brain.
Everybody, we're on Kyle's screen right now. Don't panic.
Which I don't understand because mine is plugged in as well. So hopefully we don't go there.
It's your mouse, Kyle. I bet.
Kyle, on the colors, the honey yellow, this is intended to be a used but unobtrusive structure. And I wonder whether a dark color all the way around is not a better idea. And I know what the booth is sort of going to be that honey yellow siding with the brown top. And so you're looking to the restroom to sort of integrate with the booth, but that restroom is not visible from the booths. It's visible from the parking lot, and it's backed up against the roof lines of old buildings that come down in sort of dark colors. I'm not sure we want it to brighten up life back there.
Okay.
So I would think, I don't know what the color choices are. I think the roof is a perfectly, it's the wall color that I would question.
Okay. I can, if you want, I could pull up the colors right now, or we could do it later.
I have one other question about materials. Where are you using a brick veneer?
It would be on the seat walls. I can show you. So it'd be on this seat wall and this seat wall right there. So it's a brick veneer with a sandstone cap, similar to what's across the street at the library.
Library,
Is it
yes.
veneer on the libraries?
I'm sorry?
Is it a veneer on the libraries?
I
In
assume so.
the park it is.
To me,
There's
the
concrete wall with a brick veneer.
What is Bob saying?
To me, the brick veneer is out of place in the park. I would rather see some kind of a stone veneer or something like that that would blend in with all the natural earth tones that we have in textures. To me, it really stands out as being quite different than everything else that all the other materials.
How tall is that section?
The little seat wall, it's about 18 inches tall.
Okay.
1 second here. I want to make sure my computer doesn't die. I want to make sure it's plugged in. I don't want to go black.
He wants to run and plug in what I just texted.
Cindy, you plug yours in now too. Well,
Yeah, well, no, it was.
Yeah, we're all plugged in from the message.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I hope that's Kyle that said.
Yeah,
Okay.
it came up again, so you may have gotten it.
All right, great.
Okay. It says I'm plugged in. So it said I had 4 minutes remaining. So I wanted to make sure I get plugged in.
Okay.
I would concur with what Bob just said. I think that the library's brick veneer comes off of the whole motif of the library. And we're not, that's the only brick piece we've filled this with stone and with granite, with
Natural stuff.
and with the slate. And so I think if there's a way to do a stone, that would be nice.
Okay. Is there a certain type of stone? Would you like something along the lines of the Lions Red flagstone, or are you thinking more of the granite?
Granites.
The
Great.
granite?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Some
there's a
kind
lot of flagstone already.
You know, if we could do it in silver plum granite, it would just be wonderful, but I don't think we can do that. Because that's part of what you see around town in front of some of the houses and that's a silver plum granite that is that gray granite look.
I would think any kind of a gray would be.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Okay. And this compass thing is absolutely fabulous. I
Yeah.
mean, I just love this. It's
Wow.
just awesome.
I think that'll be a nice feature.
Oh, I mean,
It's
especially.
pointed the right way.
Especially.
It is. I did double check that a few times.
So, yeah, and so where it says south, north, east, and west, that you'll actually be able to see those letters.
Yeah. So
Okay.
those would be, they would sandblast the letter in there, and then they would do a lithochrome stain on it so you can see it, and it'll hold up for a very long time.
Nice.
This, people will love this. Everybody's so confused in this town, including me, all the time.
Now,
So,
the inner ring of that is sandstone block, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah. So this was the seat wall, the kind of smooth curve on there, and then these are sandstone slab holders for seating. So they have a
You don't
flat
want-
top.
Yeah.
The veneer on the fire pit, is that a brick also?
Correct.
It looks like.
Yeah.
So would we probably want to change that to the granite, I would think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially there'll be no brick
No brick.
on this project.
We've got plenty of brick in other places.
Okay.
Okay, we were gonna do a color chart really quickly.
Yeah, I can just pull that up online. It'd probably be faster than trying to log in and getting that. TXT.
Okay, essentially what we're getting is that second one in, right?
It is, sorry, they changed their website on me. Restrooms. And it is a Denali. And you'll have to ignore the facade treatment. You know, we're doing something differently, but this is the model of it. It's not going to have the stone or anything like that on the bottom. But I can find the colors and textures here.
I kind of like that red. It blends in with the brick, the back of the brick buildings.
It comes right in back of the tin shop at the Niceland Anderson Hardware. And the tin shop has sort of a pressed tin back to it. And then, of course, that long roof on which we're about to put a white furnace, but don't worry, it won't stay white.
So maybe we want something more gray than brown.
And so let me say that it does look a little different looking at this on the screen than it does. I have an actual color sample at my office. So it is a little misleading a little bit looking at it online.
Where is the brown you picked for the roof?
Where is that? It's Nuss Brown.
Right.
Here it is. This
Below your hand.
third row, middle,
yeah.
third one.
That's the roof.
Yeah.
I might even go to the deeper, the Java brown on the roof, but well, maybe not.
So if we did the Java brown on the roof and the mocha on the walls, is that just blend in enough or?
Yeah, you're talking about that mocha
Yeah.
that he's got his, yeah.
Mocha caramel.
There's also the cappuccino cream is another.
That gets a good bit of gray in it.
Yeah.
I think that the mocha comes out darker. That
It'll be a little different, but I think the color direction's the right way.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
Joan, would you do the Java brown roof?
With the mocha?
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Yep.
We're in.
Okay. Oh, that was.
So going forward, guys, nobody can change their mind on any of these things that we've told them tonight.
We got it.
I understand. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry to go back on it, but the handicapped picnic table,
Yeah, yeah.
is there any like more of a rustic looking
Yeah.
table? It's very modern.
I'm not sure. I could take a look. There is a limited selection in ADA accessible picnic tables. There might be more of a selection with just a typical non-ADA. I could
Is
take a
that
look.
concrete? Is it concrete, Kyle?
The table? No,
Yeah.
it is it's a powder coated black metal.
Oh, okay.
You know, help me out here, you guys. I mean, if there's anything I hate, it's that you can't like push the seat in or pull the seat out, that it's all locked in. Are we worried that somebody would walk away with freestanding chairs?
Freestanding chairs. We may be putting a lot of freestanding tables and chairs down at the street, but we will end up locking them together.
Okay.
Well, and it's not just that they get stolen literally, but
They
you
get
know,
to-
somebody shows up that
Yeah.
somebody shows up to that needs to use it and somebody else has dragged them off to the other end of the park. And so
Or down to the
I
other
understand.
town.
it just
And
keeps it
those
Goes up at the
That's gonna
lake with the wind.
You're right.
And the table's gonna be black? Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Now, what does that tie into?
So the benches and
See that bench? I want you to put that bench over by that cart. That's a great bench. No, sorry, I digress.
yeah,
Yes. Oh,
there's different color options we could certainly do.
why wouldn't we do like a dark brown?
Well, what about that trash can right below there? Is that the same?
Yeah.
Oh,
that an
that's
option?
kinda-
That would go.
Yeah, I like that.
I
You
think
like that
would-
color of that trash can?
Yeah, in other words.
Yeah.
because it's sort of
We
blend.
have trash cans all the way through town now that are bear-proof trash cans. We should put a trash can of the same color as our trash cans. They're deep brown. And I
Okay,
would think we don't suddenly want to have a
brown.
different color on a trash can. I'm trying to build the park into being part of the systems that we're.
Well,
we're-
I was looking at the color on the trash can for the bench and the handicap table.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
if we could.
Sean's
match
point
those
was that the handicap table as a table looks like a sort of modern thing that we've stuck into the park.
that's the way it feels to me.
And
like
is
it
there
just
any
landed.
for the table itself? And what I thought I heard Kyle say is he would check out what else was available in handicap tables, didn't I?
Yeah.
If you did that table in a brown tone, it wouldn't be quite so, I think, overwhelming as it
No,
looks
but
in
it's.
the blue.
I
Yeah,
think
it definitely
it
wouldn't be
would
blue.
help,
That's
but it's
just
not.
that's just the picture of it.
I understand.
Right now we're calling it black, but I'll take a look and see if there's more rustic looking tables and we can change the color to be a brown.
And to Cindy's comment, we should match the color of the table and the trash can to whatever color we have for trash cans in town now. Which I think is a darker brown, isn't it, Cindy?
Darker brown. It's the level of a Forest Service brown, the kind of brown that we're now putting on guardrails and stuff on the highway.
I'll have to see if I can track down which exact product that is. Different products have slightly different colors. So
And,
I
you
don't
know,
know.
if there's a different look, I'm sort of with Sean. That's all of a sudden we've thrust a modern element into something that we're trying to make look quite natural.
What would it look like? What would you want it to look like? I guess that would be the thing. And still meet, I don't know that this design has anything to do with ADA other than it's missing one seat. So
If you just had like a regular wooden picnic table, you know, that's got two benches on both sides and one end of it sticks out far enough so you could roll up under it. I think other ones work that way anyway, don't they?
well, I think we have on the trail around the lake, we have some tables like that where there's a significant overhang on one end where you could roll a wheelchair up to it.
Yeah.
But Kyle, are you looking at the scale of this fitting? In other words, a long rectangle this is kind of a square.
Yeah, that is a good
picnic table.
That is a good point. We wouldn't be able to get too much bigger than this without expanding that area a little bit.
Well, if you made it, you take the seat that's you know, the kind of the seat that's opposite the missing seat, bring the table all the way to that end, you wind up with a rectangular table, and you can make the two side benches as side benches, and then bring your wheelchair in from the fire pit area. Make it rectangular with the fire pit end open for a, you know, wheelchair to come in there.
Would you mind moving Kyle to the big picture? Because I would like to see where that table
The
sits.
one with the compass, L 4.1.
4.1. Yeah, that's probably a better one.
Oh, I see. Whoa.
So
I mean, it's pretty prominent actually from the street and things.
there is a landscape bed in front of it that would provide some sort of buffer.
What I was saying is just make a rectangular, you know, eliminate the seat that's on the right hand side.
Yeah.
And just have a bench front and back, and put a rectangular table in.
Yeah.
Or even cover this table with something that looks more rustic.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if this particular table, because I really like the scale of this with regard to the walkways and all the rest of it. I mean,
Yeah.
and I really like that you can't drag anything away from it.
Yeah.
So if we can get this in the dark brown, don't you think that would work?
Well, I'd be happier if it was brown to just blend in with the stone and everything else around it.
I would still like us to look to see what our options are, because I do think it's that is out of keeping with some of the natural aspects we're attempting to do. And I'm not sure how your wheelchair really accesses that inside with the boulders and everything.
Yeah.
I'd like us to look at some options for that feature.
Okay.
What are the tables like in the library park?
The library park has wrought iron rounds and a different variety of them. And I know because we're talking about doing that through the downtown, and I was out measuring their tables and looking at them the other day, and a variety of wrought iron chairs, so that everything is movable. And I agree with the basic idea of this table being fixed in the spot that it want to place.
Put the wrought iron table and just anchored it to the ground, and anchored a couple chairs to the ground or benches or something. It's not going anywhere.
Oh, wrought iron?
Yeah, you've got concrete, or you got pavement there that you can go ahead and
Yeah, you could anchor it.
Just bolt them down.
Yeah, because you don't want these three chairs to end up across the street.
Yeah.
No.
The library.
But you could go with it's an expanded like wrought iron, right? The top is not solid. It's got holes in it.
Yeah, I know.
Well, some of them are mesh and some of them are solid. I would tell you that it's easier, that the mesh stays cleaner.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there would be less, it's less intrusive too, because it's, it looks lighter.
And they have all rounds, but you can obviously get them in rectangles and that, The other thing is if we do continue the wrought iron up and down the street side, that would be another sort of connection thing for, so it could be a possibility.
Yeah, and the wrought iron is very park-like. I mean, there's a lot of parks in Paris and France that are all wrought iron tables in Paris.
And the bench, where are the benches, where do the benches go? Kyle,
There's one right here along Rose Street and another one right here along Rose
okay,
Street.
and those are wrought iron benches, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah,
Black,
more or
right?
less. Yeah, they're powder coated black, but we could do another color as well.
Yeah, are they really steel benches?
Yes, they're
But
steel slat benches.
they're steel slat benches. So I think we might want our feature right there. And we'll somehow leave a side open so you could deal with a wheelchair to not be a different feature than, not to be totally different than the two benches we have out front.
So,
We don't want it to end up looking busy.
and looking at this, if you are in a wheelchair, you got to go all the way around the grass, right? Then through and into the middle section and then over. I mean, this is
You
quite
could go right through here.
Yeah.
Oh,
If
okay.
you came in a car, but yeah, if you were just out on the street, you would just go in where Kyle is showing.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
So are we talking about switching to wrought iron?
Yep. So
Okay. I just actually Googled it. I'm sure Kyle's already seen it. I don't know if you guys can see this, if I can get the right picture up. There's kind of a little square one. It's more wood than plastic than steel, but I like the wrought iron idea.
Yeah, I do too.
So let's investigate some wrought iron and
Yeah.
mesh as opposed to solids.
Yeah.
And Kyle, is that something that you would also look at for us? Or is that outside the purview of your work?
Are we doing that? Is that our assignment?
I mean, Kyle has this firm that has access to probably much more than we could ever look at.
Well, actually, I would tell you that the internet is flooded with wrought iron.
Oh yeah. You can.
I just put 6 wrought iron benches at West Point, so yeah.
Aren't we looking at some kind of a grant for furniture?
Yes, we're looking at some kind of a grant for furniture, Bob. We'll see whether they say yes. I pressed send last night, Bob. So, and
Cindy, are we looking at a grant? Cindy, are
What?
you, you're doing all the grants, right?
but the one for the street furniture, yes.
Everything.
Right. Cindy
They sent
grant.
us a note this morning and said we'd know by the end of the month whether we got it or not. That's amazing.
That's incredible.
That's incredible. Yes. So fingers crossed.
Okay.
Might bring us a restroom too. Who knows?
Okay. What else have we got to look at here? It's almost my bedtime.
Yeah, it looks
Past
great.
my bedtime. I think that what you're hearing, Kyle, is overall this is we've come a long way, and yeah, there are some little things. I think that these drawings are very complex, and we're not building this in the next 10 minutes. So it would be my recommendation that we leave everybody with the drawings and say, please look through them at least another time or two and see if there's anything else. But I think we've made a bunch of suggestions that are little tweaks. They're not major things.
I think overall, this is just awesome. I mean, this
It's so awesome.
is
It's
just
just
going to be
beautiful.
absolutely fabulous.
Yep, very exciting.
Yeah, very nice.
Are we ready to do something on this with some of these things addressed later, or are we gonna come back to see one more time?
I think we're gonna bring the whole
We
thing.
have to do a COA for this?
No, I don't think so. We're just giving our recommendation on it, right?
So we just-
Actually, the town usually comes for a COA.
But we're not issuing it. We're not giving it, right? We're just kind of giving it the approval to move on.
Well,
No, I think it needs to come back,
Okay,
Joan. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of little changes and
yeah.
there's some stuff you want to see.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what,
So we'll table this tonight to next time?
What do we need to do to, if, to finalize it and be done? What do we need to do?
eventually we need to vote on giving it a certificate of appropriateness.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what,
it does need a COA. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Kyle, I think you have our list of things. And can you be back in 2 weeks with that, or do you need more time?
Joan, I don't think there's any, if we're not building it this summer,
We're not?
no. I don't think that we're building it this summer.
I'm not going to take the chance of trying to build it before Christmas market, this entire thing. Now, there may be one part of it we do.
So we need an approval one way or the other though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that if Kyle doesn't need to be here in 2 weeks, if she wants to be here in a month, that's fine.
That's up to Kyle, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know what kind of timeline he was on, but so it's the little list of things we discussed today that are the kind of finalizing, I think.
Okay, I'll coordinate with Kent on timeline, but I have my marching orders, so.
Excellent.
going on it.
Okay, so are we actually tabling this, or are we just?
No, it wasn't officially an
Oh,
application.
right, because he's not coming back in 2 weeks.
Well, and it wasn't officially an application. It was a presentation, and
Okay.
so we will.
yeah, hopefully next time it could come for a COA, we
Mhm.
could prove it.
Okay, great. Whew, all right. Anybody got anything else? I think we're probably done with you, Kyle.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And Brent never said a word.
No, I didn't. Way past my bedtime.
I know, all of
But you
ours.
stuck with us the whole
Because-
way, Brent.
Because
I
I've been
know.
getting up like at 4 a.m. lately, and this is really late.
Oh my gosh.
We don't-
Okay. We got some minutes.
Yeah, I had no comments to the minutes. I thought they were good.
Okay. Anybody else?
Didn't read them.
Do I hear
I
a
didn't either.
motion?
Move that we accept the minutes as written.
Do I hear a second?
Sure, I'll second them.
All in favor? Aye.
I'm sorry, give me a first again.
Sean was first?
John and Cindy.
No, it was Bob.
Oh, sorry.
Bob and Cindy.
As long as they get approved, doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't.
Right, you know it's one of us. Okay, and then with that, I think,
No,
Hey, Joan.
you're not done.
oh, man.
What? What?
Hey, Joan,
Yes.
there was a request for public comment at the beginning, and it said it was going to be after the presentation if they want to still have public comment.
Okay.
Would you want to take that now or wanted to wait until there's actually a request for the COA to have public comment?
What is
Um,
public comment?
Yeah, let's do it. And this is a 5-minute comment. It's not. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna move somebody along. And Deanne, I think, just stated wait in the chat. So to me, it changed her mind because of all the conversation that occurred, but I'll promoted her in order to give the opportunity. So
So she would like to come back up when it's the final meeting?
probably, but I don't know. Deanne, you did.
Most of the points that I had worries about were covered, and you guys done great. Thank you. One of the problems I had that wasn't covered is when they're talking about the slabs, they talk about having to compact the dirt underneath first. And I think that pounding and rolling is going to be too hard on the Georgetown brick that's nearby, meaning the wall that's contiguous with Nizal and Anderson, you know, that one, because that constant pounding will be a little bit like a day-long earthquake or a couple-hour-long earthquake. And I think Georgetown brick's too fragile and breakable, and it needs some sort of workaround figured out. I think it'll shatter that wall, you know, and it may be like with old China where it just gets all crazed and it takes it years before it falls down. But I think compacting the earth that they call for in the ecotech section is a problem.
Thank you. Actually, I think that we should take a good look at that because, you know, we have had some interesting problems with the brick on those two buildings already. So
Right now, the building just to the east of Nizal and Anderson's, they did the front face on 6th Street last year, and it's in great shape. But the one right beside it, little pieces keep falling off the trim. I've picked up a whole, probably the equivalent of 2 cups of broken shards that have fallen off. And I think that's just from cars and things driving past and jiggling the buildings.
So yeah, I think there is a point to us paying attention to that.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
I have a written out thing. Can I have Jennifer stick it in your boxes and you can read it at your leisure, or is that not allowed?
Oh, that would be, that's fine.
Cool, thank you. That'll be good enough. Happy day, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for getting rid of that Jetsons table. That was just so not historic.
Okay. All right, guys, now I think we're done. So if we'll adjourn, Betsy, I want your phone number.
Yep, I'm going to stay on here.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
I'll miss you.
Okay, bye. See you downtown. Okay. Yeah, so my phone number, can you hear me, Joan?
Yes, I can.
Okay, 706-537-1400. Now I'm good Saturday afternoon or Sunday, or I think Monday too.
Okay, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. What I may do is just actually, I'll have to call Kent to get her number, and then maybe I can text. We can all be on the same text together, so we don't have 42 phone calls back and forth.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
I have to babysit my kids in Denver Monday afternoon, but Monday morning is good.
Okay. I'll see what I can do then.
Thank you so much.
I'm
This is so
exhausted.
exciting. Oh, you did a great job.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yeah, I keep thinking I'm going to see all these people on the street. Nobody will recognize me. I won't recognize anybody.
Well, now our masks are at least coming off, so we can.
Yeah,
I walk past people all the time, and I go, "Hey, it's me, it's Joe."
Yeah, right.
Okay.
All right.
Well, now that it's warmer too, we'll see you outside.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks.
Great job. Thank you so much.
Sure.